What's up, anime heads? Over here at DFPN, it is hashtag spooky season. So I know we've been bringing you the bright, colorful, great stories and happy endings of most shonens out there. But we decided to tap into the one of the darker, but nonetheless great anime and mangas out there, Death Notes. And of course, I'm so happy to have the homie Jackie back with us. And from Queens of Nerdum, the game master for our Fallen Star campaign, my man EJ, a.k.a. Dr. Awesome. And he's been wanting to come on the show for a while. He's more of a, I guess you could say, a connoisseur of the vintage animes, you know. So introduce yourself to the crew, man. First time on the show.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Love anime, have forever. Since I was a little kid growing up in Hawaii, used to watch Robotech, Macross on in the morning cartoon. My morning cartoons were different than what a lot of they had in the States because you got to see anime. So I was like, watching Robotech, watching Guyver and stuff, and then I come to the States and um, the access wasn't there. Late '80s, early '90s. So a lot of that was I learned through VHS or eventually DVD, getting to see stuff. But now with the options that are out there, I love anime. I feel like some of the greatest stories I've come across have been via manga or anime, and it brings so many people together. I mean, so many different genres and people who are different scenes, but we can all chime in and comment on certain animes that we've seen that pretty much like Death Note, like bringing up tonight. That's one of those that if you're an anime fan, you've probably seen it or it's on your to-do list because it's one of those cornerstones, of anime. So just glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And of course, Jackie's back after her hiatus, but a lot of life movements going on, work, family visiting, so 100% understood. But super stoked to have you back, homie.
Yeah.
I'm
Welcome
excited.
back.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've been waiting. It's been like a month and 2 weeks. I've been counting.
Like,
Busy.
who's counting? I am. But without further ado, we'll bring in the intro, then we'll start talking about this amazing story.
Yeah.
What up? What up? Like we
I
talked
love that
about.
intro.
Oh
Awesome.
man. Yeah. Shout out to I forgot the name. I'll shout them out. I'll put them in the comments. But I was going through YouTube trying to find some clips and stuff to put together for intro, and I saw that mashup, and I just reached out to the creator. I was just like, hey, mind if we use your joint for intro for it? And they were just like, yeah, you can use the. I was like, we're gonna change the music. Just they're like, yeah, you can use the just throw my name in
Nice.
the description. So we'll shout them out more often. I think they need more credit than what we've been giving them. So, like we talked about Death Note, it was the creator goes by a pen name Sugumi Oba. They keep their identity closely guarded secret. I think a few manga creators do that. I know the creator for Demon Slayer is also like that as well. Not sure if they're just like, man, I'm gonna be super popular. I don't need to get mobbed when I go places. But whatever, as long as you keep creating dope stuff like that, name yourself whatever you want at that point. Um,
I think it's cool that he's anonymous because so is Kira in the actual anime itself.
yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good reflection. Yeah.
Yep. So like the weird thing about this is Oba was just like, yeah, even though I'm a creator and I, worked on a Death Note, also did a series called Bakuman and then Platinum End. So, three pretty well known in Japan manga series, but they never were really a reader as a kid. They were just like, we just watch TV and movies and things along those lines, and so just use the creativity from watching that to create what we have here. They said that seeing some movies and things that deal with Shinigami and stuff, which we talked about Bleach on the previous one, but it seems to be a theme in most anime, not most, but like the the whole other side of life. Like there's things happening outside of life, very supernatural, very spiritual.
They love the paranormal. They really do.
Oh, 100%. And there's several anime that get into the paranormal stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm here for it. They do a good job telling the story that way. But another thing to note for Oba is that they do their best thinking, or so they said in an interview, sitting in a chair holding their knees, which is kind of like with what L does.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, the more I was reading about the creator, I'm just like, there's small little nuances, like you said too, Jackie, like just having the pseudonym instead of just going by your name there. But so we've all seen it. I know you guys just recently seen it. Every time we do the show, like obviously we've all seen it, but then I've never read the manga, so I go back and start looking at the manga and stuff, and it's just a whole different aspect. Like it tells the same story, but like from you get a different version of it, if you will.
A little bit more gruesome as well. A little bit more graphic too, with some of the deaths that happen throughout
Yes.
the manga.
I think a lot of that has to go with the fact that it as an anime, it was part of the shonen, so it's like they didn't want it to be as graphic, like because then sometimes it sets it over into the more adult themed stuff. So some people even said it should have been categorized as that just because of the level of the philosophy behind it all. Like if you sat back and actually judged it, it's something more on a level that maybe it should be for strictly adults to think of. But I think that being that Light is a teenager, it fits. You know what I mean? So I think that people undercut the level of understanding that a lot of people his age probably do have when viewing that story, and how it it might spark thought and conversation.
That's a good point that you brought that up, because even though I have on here that more than 30 million copies were sold in Japan, and however, in a lot of countries it was banned, like China, for example. And the biggest thing I found this is, I guess, kids were buying, they were purchasing the Death Notes, and then they were writing the names of people that they dislike in their teachers and acquaintances. Yeah.
I do it.
So, that was kids.
I do it.
Yeah.
See, you know what? I did that in junior high in elementary school, but it was just a regular notebook that you just passed between friends.
Right.
Just little notes that you folded into a little football.
I can't stand this person,
You get the list of people that are
right.
This is my list.
But if you also look at anime back in like the 80s, 90s,
Hold
and
on,
early
real quick, Jackie.
as-
Real quick. Sorry to cut you off. Eric did give
Oh,
me
you're
the international, like we haven't taken
Oh.
our shot.
Okay, hold on. I got my soju.
Ooh, we fancy over here. I'm just over here with Malibu coconut
Fancy.
rum. So
Oh,
I'm
ew.
with some Bacardi rum. So.
Cheers.
cheers.
Yeah, look at that smoke. Oh, I should have brought my smoke pit. Oh, I suck.
Ugh.
That wasn't a pleasant sound.
Yeah. No, it's not rum is not usually my go-to. And I didn't want to just take a shot of Crown and sip on Crown. So I'm like, let me mix it up.
Oh
It's
yeah.
the worst decision.
That's also a lot of sugar when you have Crown and.
Don't worry about what's
whatever.
happening over
I'm not judging you.
Don't
You
worry about
drink
what's
whatever.
happening. But we
But no, I
started
was gonna
dabbling.
say back then, like a lot of manga that's gruesome like that,
Mhm.
which is great. The art style and everything was good. You notice a lot of themes when Americans wanted to try and take the manga and make animated adaptations of it. They would censor a lot. Perfect example is also Sailor Moon. Like a lot of Sailor Moon was changed and censored. Full Metal Alchemist, like a lot of stuff was changed and censored based off of what Americans thought was like okay to show based off of like what the original art was, but a lot of that gets lost. But nowadays I see it's different. They've actually been like staying true more
They're
to
learning
manga,
that it's not
but
just a children's, because that's their mentality. Is if it's animated,
yes.
it's a child. It's a child's movie or a
Or
child's.
maybe they think like, well, this case is Death Note. People are dying, so I would think they don't think children, but maybe like 14 and up kind of
Mhm.
thing, I guess. But
Yeah.
still, like, um, it makes sense why it differs, but it still doesn't differ a lot. It still lines up with the story. They didn't create like a whole separate storyline
Right.
compared to the manga. It's just the manga is more, in my opinion, from what I looked up. I didn't read the manga, but I looked at the panels and everything.
Right.
Like it's very beautifully drawn. The illustrations, I think the illustrator is Takashi Obata.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the
And
illustrator.
he is amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Did a really great job with the concept. Apparently, Ryuk was supposed to be super handsome, and they were like, no, we can't. He's got to be like different looking. So
Yeah.
they changed his whole character design and had him look the way that he did because they didn't want him to look too human. He shouldn't look human.
Yep.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, like his elongated limbs and so forth to try to, because when you're dealing with the Shinigami, like if you see anything they throw Shinigami in, they usually range from like these total bizarre looking creatures. And I mean, to some of it's comical, to us, we would think, oh, but in their culture, I mean, they range from, the little heads bouncing on the ground with googly eyes to, fearsome looking creatures, but they're all fall under the Shinigami as in types of demons or types of evil spirits. So, I mean, their appearance, it ranges so much, but I'm sure a lot of stuff when it comes to the American adaptation, they've got to look at it as, would the Americans buy off on it? Ryuk look like, like a prince or something, like.
Yeah. So
Yes.
before we super deep dive, let's go ahead and get into our segment, creating the manga. So we already hit on some super dope points regarding that, but the one point I wanted to bring up, and it really like stuck out to me, is like this manga from beginning to end, 108 chapters, right? Only I think 12 volumes, and it sold 30 million, and the only one on the list of like best-selling manga of all time that had less volumes and sold more was Devilman. It only had 5 volumes.
Really?
Yeah, it only had 5 volumes, and that sold 50 million. But that was back in the 70s, but I think Jackie, you brought up a good point, and I kind of figured that's probably why it didn't sell as much, is because the topic that this story covered, a lot of countries were just like, this is probably not a good idea to have this, bringing this running rampant over here, because people are, creatures of we do radical things at times, and somebody would have just picked this thing up, kind of like in the story where Kira, who ends up being Light, his alias, builds up a cult following, and people start believing in that, so that's not saying people don't do that in real life. We've had numerous cults that ended up killing themselves over some weird radical belief. So other countries were probably like, it's probably best not that we bring this stuff to our country, But for those who don't know, and we kind of skipped over it, and our apologies, but So the synopsis for Death Note, if you haven't heard, or which I feel is kind of, it's like ingrained in pop culture at this point. Most people should know. If you don't have a deep understanding of it, you should probably know the surface level. Jackie mentioned it. You know, dude writes comes across a notebook, the Death Note. You see the face of somebody, you know their name, you can write it in there, and then they'll die. Pretty simple, right? So the story follows Light Yagami, a genius high school student who discovers a mysterious notebook, aka the Death Note, which belonged to a Shinigami named Ryuk, and grants the user the supernatural ability to kill anyone whose name is written in the pages. The series centers around Light's subsequent attempt to use the Death Note to carry out a worldwide massacre of individuals whom he deems immoral, and to create a crime-free society. Using the alias of a godlike vigilante named Kira, and the subsequent efforts of an elite Japanese police task force led by the I can't say that word.
Enigmatic.
I guess, yes. Detective
Whatever.
named L to apprehend him. So, I mean, the basis of the story seems pretty solid. Like, you would think somebody who had the ability to rid the world of all evil people would just be considered a hero, right?
Well, that's the philosophical question. That's the balance of, like, I mean, just looking at it, like, it's in society every day, be it criminal justice. You look at the fact of punishment versus redemption. Mm-hmm. There's those that believe everyone deserves a second chance, you know, or those that say, hey, it's not for me to judge, it's for society to judge. And then there's those that believe, hey, you did the crime, you do the time, you did something bad, you deserve to be punished. So you look at that whole philosophical question, and Light brings it into there as it's simple to him. And it's strange because he's such a genius. I mean, he is like an extraordinarily gifted mind at a high school level. Mm-hmm. And he looks at this, and to him, it seems so simplistic. When you're watching it, you see he doesn't even wrestle with the idea so much as just like the awe of the power, and he wants to see. He just immediately starts exploring the ways in which the Death Note works, how it can work, right, how he can use it, instead of going, should I do this and shouldn't I do this? He doesn't even weigh the philosophy of it. He just looks at it as, look, I have the power to change things. I'm going to do it.
I think the cool part about that is the initial, you know, skepticism he had when he first got it. He's looking at it. He's just like, he watches the news, sees this criminal, you know, all that stuff. He's like, you know, if I'm going to try it out, what harm would it be if I chose a criminal that I feel nobody would miss? You know, a petty person would have been like, I can't stand this motherfucker at work. Jot, jot, jot. You know, like he wasn't on that level. He's like, let me pick somebody. If this was to work, this person dies, nobody's going to be like, oh, shit. Like, what the hell? Like, oh, shit, he's gone. Well, that's one less bad guy on the planet. So I think that's the first thing that he tries. And then he's just like, oh, shit, you know, let me try something else. And like you said, just instead of just looking at the base rules, he starts doing random things like, does it have to be in the thing? If I could just tear the page out, I could carry the ability to kill somebody, and then I could just tear a small piece off and write it. And he just kept finding different ways to manipulate and becoming more and more devious with it. And then people are just, oh man, this guy is.
It's just crazy because Ryuk does what he does in the very beginning out of boredom.
Yeah.
But what are the chances that it comes across that someone's so profoundly in depth on his? I mean, for anyone to get it, the chances that Light gets it, and Light is so, I mean, if you were Ryuk and you sat back and watched, this kid takes it in a matter of days and just, I mean, seriously, he's like a scientist with his approach. He's just like simply just figuring everything out, and he just goes, I'm going to try this, I'm going to experiment with this, I'm going to do this, and he's on it, you know? So I'm sure it was like cured boredom right away. That's for sure. Like, wow, this kid's crazy. Like,
yeah, I think that what the entire story talks about is this feeling of that sense of justice and what that actually means, what justice actually means. It tests morality. Like, yes, I'm a smart person, but do I have that morality to understand that this decision I could make is not necessarily the correct one? Vice, like doing the right thing, it raises questions about the nature of good and evil, and then the corrupting influence then of that power once you get it, which is what happens with light, and it shows it throughout the entire story about what happens when people realize they have the ability to make that judgment and decide what justice means to people who deserve it, and how corrupting that can be when you're put in that position to have that all that power. You could be someone as insignificant as, I don't want to say insignificant because it's bad to say, because I was
Right.
going to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
working
yeah.
at a grocery store. This is not, no offense to anyone that works at a grocery store. But compared to someone that's like, let's say like a CEO or a celebrity or someone that's like in, very influential and a lot of people know and they have a lot of power already just being in that position versus someone that's just living day-to-day life and working like your normal 8 to 4, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever job, taking care of kids, and now all of a sudden you have all the power in the world to determine people's fates and decide who gets to do what or what happens to who depending on the type of person they are. It's crazy because then you see like what people do with that, and I can see why the story is like it's so good, but then why some people or countries are like, yeah, absolutely not. We don't need that thinking in our country.
Right.
People need to stay in their lane. They
Yep.
can't be feeling like that they can do something actually good. They need to be a nice stay-at-home person or work 9 to 5 person, and you stay in your lane. You go here.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy to think, somebody having the ability to have the power of life and death, and it's to do it from a distance by just writing your name in a book. Like they don't have to see you in person. It's not a hand-to-hand combat. They don't shoot. It's just, I saw your face on the news. I know what it looks like, and I know your name. I have the ability to take your life from a distance. The the premise or the idea and what he would like to do is very noble. It's just the execution of it is where it starts, because he, like you said, he's already at a genius level of intellect. So now he's almost like a evil genius at this point. You know what I'm saying?
He starts losing his sense of morality at one point,
Well,
because now human lives become just chess pieces.
It starts, the Death Note itself, the book itself starts to obscure the lines between light and dark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, noble purpose doesn't mean that you don't commit atrocity. There's been many times throughout history as mankind has had a noble goal or the best intentions, and still it's turned out to have disastrous outcomes. So in this, you're seeing that develop. Even the greatest mind, I mean, Light is a genius. It's from the beginning. You notice, I mean, the kid is able to do, even there's a part that I was watching where he can write with both hands.
Yeah.
So he uses that later in the story, and when you're watching it, you see, I mean, this kid is able to absorb information, write with one hand to do homework, do the other hand he's doing the Death Note while watching a video camera on another. I mean, his multitasking alone, makes me feel like my IQ is very low just watching him. So I mean, the lines of light and dark, and I mean, like you said, when Willie you just said that he had a noble or initially a noble idea of punishing those that deserve to be punished.
Mm-hmm.
But then you come down to, should any one person be judge, jury, and executioner? Even the most noble of people, should they ever have that power? Because
I think once you get that taste, like you just try it or realize you have it, as soon as you get that taste, it's not, there's a difference, I think, where some people will just do what Light did, right? And just full send. Whereas like some people might do it and be like, okay, only on Wednesdays.
Only on my off days will I commit mass
Only
murder.
on Wednesdays I wear black. It's my dark day.
Laundry day, I start writing names.
Yep.
Doing laundry, I got nothing else to do. I'm just like,
chores.
yeah.
One thing I found though, I thought was interesting about when this was written is it was initially supposed to be a one-shot story.
Yeah.
The creator submitted it to Shonen, was like, nah,
they're not going
see
to
what happens.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we love it, keep going. And he's like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
And I guess in the original draft, he actually created, it's called a death eraser. So even though you could write in the notebook, he originally had an idea that there was also an eraser that could erase the names that were in the notebook, and thus bringing them all back to life.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I guess he decided to remove it because that would make the main character too powerful to just like go back and forth. And also, Light's already a sociopath. Imagine being a sociopath and a narcissist, and you just, I'm gonna kill you. Now I'm gonna bring you back to life. See what I can do? Oh,
right.
I'm gonna kill you again. Now I'm gonna bring you back. The manipulation, like
the
that,
impact.
is crazy.
It really would have, if they kept it, it would have lessened the impact,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the fact that when you make that decision pen to paper, it's done. It it makes the fact that he could make those decisions so easily so much more impactful. You're just like, it doesn't seem to hit him at all. I mean, with the first gentleman, it does, but I think it's more of a shock that it actually worked.
Right.
More than him being hurt.
Yeah, he had a smirk on his face as soon as it happened.
Exactly.
It was immediately, he's like, oh, this is what I've been searching for my entire life. Because he, at one point, I think he was already losing purpose because
he was just too smart.
He reached his peak.
Right.
He is the perfect example of when you reach your peak in high school. Like,
what else is there for
He
me to
reached
do
his
in life?
peak.
Yeah.
What is it? Where is he going? He's gonna be 30, and
It's Uncle Rico, man.
doing nothing eventually. I don't know. Yeah. He reached his peak, and he's like, "Is this all there is? Like, this is what it is. So now I'm just gonna become the top." Like, he already knew he was just gonna be this. In my personal opinion, he was already had that sociopathic tendency where he's already like, I'm already better than everyone. Like, this is not enough for me. Like, I'm just gonna live this life where I'm just gonna be at the top and no one can best me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very egotistical. I mean, he had a right to be, but
yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that you mentioned it was only supposed to be a one shot, because it actually was. Wasn't it 2003 to like 2005 or 6? How long did the
3 years?
2003
to
2006. 2006.
There you go. I was like, that for a one shot, it went on for 3 years. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I like that, and this is probably with most anime and most manga. Why I feel more drawn to watch that. People be like, "What shows are you watching?" And I'd rather watch that because, in some sort of way, it applies to Marvel and stuff, like, or just movies in general. They try to take books that have been like series novels, like 3, 4, 6 series of books, and try to put it in a 2-hour movie, and it doesn't hit the same. And people are just like, man, that movie flopped. What's wrong? Like, you tried to do too much, you know? With anime, they just, it's a weekly episodic story that you get to understand the characters, you get to grow to like them or hate them. You see the intricacies between the protagonist and antagonist and stuff, and it becomes, you get attached to these characters, you get attached to the stories and things. When it comes to like most shows, you know, it's like one season of whatever, or like a big movie. So like a one shot just would have been, he finds the book and then all this stuff and then it ends, right? And you're just like, well, you know, things like that. You're like, man, that would have been dope if they would have drug it out. An example, an example that I like to tell people is the movie. What's that movie on Netflix? It had like Will Smith, and it was like in this fairy tale thing.
Bright.
Oh yeah.
Right. So Bright, I'm just like, if they would have like fleshed that out and had a season with episodes or something to describe, kind of give backstory instead of like throwing the viewer into this world, and I have like 110 minutes to try to fucking understand everything, the past, and why it reflects on the present and what's happening with, you know, like I probably would have been more invested, but I'm just like, it's a little too much to just try to throw on somebody. So I think with Death Note, and then the beautiful thing about Death Note, one, like no fillers. 2,
Yeah.
Bingo.
it just had the one story. Like, this is what it's going to be. 37 episodes anime wise, 108 chapters manga wise,
Well,
and it's
actually,
done.
they had some specials that were written, like one-offs in the manga. Like there was one where Ryuk apparently dressed up as Santa
Uh-huh.
and like asked Light if he liked Christmas.
Yeah.
So there was some of those like not fillers, but
Right.
at least like one-offs, which I think is nice that the creator at least did that too.
Yeah. But
It's so popular. I mean, you have to throw your fans some side stories, I'm sure. But
right.
yeah, saying no is perfect description of this. From episode 1 through, you don't have any episodes that are just there to fill gaps or we're gonna have the Thanksgiving special, or the trip down memory lane special, which all shows have, or the
Right.
or
The beach episode.
yeah, the
Every
Switch
anime
Bodies
just
episode, or any of those things they do, or they have to have like a time travel episode.
yeah.
They didn't do anything but follow this story. And another thing that I think was completely amazing with Death Note is the lack of action and combat does not take away from the intensity and suspense. I mean, you're glued for those episodes. You burn through episodes like that, and there doesn't have to be a single moment of combat. It's not like you're waiting. Like Dragon Ball Z builds up to that battle, or Bleach. There's going to be a confrontation. In this, it's a nonstop confrontation, but it's all in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't lack for that sense of thrilling adventure. You just like you're following it the whole time, and you root for both sides while you're watching it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, how are they going to undo? How is he going to one up him on this one or outdo him? So
the creator did a really good job of showcasing Light in a way that you couldn't hate him, but then also when they brought in all the other side characters, you also weren't annoyed or hated them either. If anything, you were more grateful to the addition or their addition and what they added to that story and the suspense and the thrilling parts, and especially like the antagonist, if you will, just how the balance to the main character and the back and forth and the relationship. And if you ever hear people talking about how like it was a page turner, or like I could never put a book down, like I think that Death Note is one of those ones. If you had all 12 volumes, like you would just burn through them in like one night.
Absolutely.
Yep. So when it comes to that, I mean, like you talked about, Jackie sends the his pilot up to him, like, they're not gonna take this, like Weekly Shonen Jump is like, if you are a manga writer or illustrator or something, like if you get picked up by them, it's like big leagues, and there's a high likelihood that your property will get picked up into an animated adaptation and stuff. So I can understand Oba just being like, I'll submit it, but I'm not expecting much, right? So then it gets picked up. So the great thing is the great / super weird thing is the illustrator for Death Note. They ended up working together on the other two that he did. The what is it?
Bakuman
the Bakuman and Platinum End. So they worked together. Oba was the writer, and Obata was the illustrator. The weird thing is, like, they rarely met in person, right? So every time they start working on, they would meet with the editor. Like, one would meet with the editor, then the other one would meet with the editor, and then they would, like, that's how information was passed from one to another. Like, Oba would come by with dialogue and stuff like that. The editor would get it, give it to Obata, and then they would start the penciling and inking of the panels. The one thing I do like, and I always feel like this leads to better mangas and better anime adaptation, if the anime sticks with the manga, is when the writer is just focused on the writing and you have that trust with the illustrator to just take what you're writing and put it into their visual, what they believe it to be, and you give them full range, is what Oba did for Obata. You get I wish I had saved some of the panels and stuff. But Jackie, you've seen them, and you see like how it sets the scene, and how Oba is just strictly like there's no filler, there's no like unnecessary fluff. Like it is very, the tempo is very point A to point B with this. You know, there's nothing in between where the reader
Yeah,
kind
it
of gets
doesn't
bored.
last a while where
Yeah,
you're just waiting and they're not talking for long periods of time. Like,
right.
and yes, there is a lot of talking because they're going through their strategies. But even as they're doing that, it's still very like, holy shit! Like, how did he think of step 1 through freaking 8? And then, oh, by the way, the other one was also planning for steps 8 through 15. And oh, by the way, the other one was like waiting for step 16. So it's like listening to that, it's not boring and you're not like, oh my god, shut up, can you just get to the point?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that tempo is kind of what you said, Jackie, would have people page turner, because it's not like you get to a point in the story where you're just like, oh, this is a good time to take a break. It's just like, shit, what happens next? Shit, what happens next? You know, some of the best TV shows were like that. I know like Lost had me like that when it first came out. I'm like, fuck. You know, back
Game
when
of Thrones.
yeah.
Game of Thrones is like that.
I'm like, bro, like I got on Game of Thrones like season 3. So seasons 1, 2, I was able to binge those on T3 in Korea. I'm just like, bam,
Oh,
bam,
yeah.
bam, bam, bam.
T3 binging.
And then when you get up current, you're like, fuck, now I gotta wait a week, right? That's what Death Note was. Like, I'm just, man, this shit is, how's he gonna get out of this? Is he gonna get rid of it? Or is he gonna catch him? How is he getting, you know, it's just the suspense. And it's like you said, Eric, it's categorized as a shonen. But there's no like
Yeah.
there's no like superpowers, leveling up, fucking fireballs. It's just it's
Yeah.
a game of wits, like a game of chess, and you're just like, I is he gonna
But
get
it's
caught
so
or not?
gripping.
He's so close to
Yeah.
getting caught. Oh, he knows. You know.
I mean, when Light and L are actually meeting, and L is like trying to figure out
Oh.
if Light is Kira, and Kira's or Light's just trying to make someone else seem like they're Kira.
Right.
And
Oh yeah.
but at the same time, he's got to stick with L, and L is purposely pushing him, trying to provoke him.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is no fight. There is no physical altercation, but right then you're so vested in that moment. You're like waiting, you're like waiting. Like, is Light going to try to kill L? L already knows, because
Yeah.
L already told Light's dad, like, hey, if I'm dead next week, your son's, the man.
Yeah.
So
There's
I mean,
I don't want to spoil it too much. There's some also like, what's that called? Realistic themes that were in Death Note with the relationship between L and Kira, or sorry, Light, and how they viewed each other, and for example, certain things of how L would talk to Light when they would have their interactions, Light talking to L, so on and so forth. Towards the end ish, whatever, like some of the other stuff, like it was very somber as well.
Mm-hmm.
And sad too. Even it was, I don't know, it's just very, very. There's a lot of symbolism too between their relationship as well. I don't want to say it though, because
No, we'll get to that though. We'll get to the area where we can.
I do have a couple of fun facts that I thought was interesting.
What's up?
About Death Note is apparently, if you guys notice, some of the names in the show are really strange and weird. Like Ryuk, what is it? Saito, Mello, Nier, L, like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the reason why is because Oba didn't want people to see their real names written in the notebook and perceive it as bad luck. So they didn't want to put like real names in there.
And then Light writes somebody's real name, and they're just like, "Oh shit, I'm
Once
finna
again-
die."
Yeah.
Well, just like mentioned before, it's very supernaturally and paranormally charged community all throughout Japan. So they have a lot of beliefs and practices that are very steeped in superstition. You know, and
then the two characters get introduced later, in the manga, in the show,
Right.
in the story. Uh, the creators didn't like to use the idea that both of them could be like Elle's relative
Yep.
or children, um, because he couldn't imagine Elle having sex.
I'm 100% on board with that.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
weird dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a weird
So,
dude. But
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think I wouldn't like the story if it's too cliche that like
if he
someone's
had kids, succeed,
you
and
know, like,
yeah.
yeah, like,
I'm
oh, my
following in my
kid's gotta
father's
succeed
footstep.
me,
Yeah.
or now my kids get involved because they're like me. Like,
Yep.
I just think that's a little too. I'm glad that they didn't go that route because that would have been too cliche.
Yeah. But so this manga was so well received. So I think another thing is Obo was just like, the the genre, or the market for manga at the time, there were very few suspense thriller type stories out there. So they swung and was just like, we'll just try to throw one out there and get some variety, and it picked up like wildfire. And of course, once your manga starts doing well, it's time to get that anime adaptation going on. So our next segment, we'll be talking about the anime, which was directed by Tetsuro Araki, who did High School of the Dead, Attack on Titan seasons 1 through 3, and Carbonari, The Iron Fortress. Which, if you haven't seen that one, that's a pretty dope anime.
That one's, I love that one.
Okay.
That one's so good.
And then, yep. And then it was animated by Madhouse, who, of course, are legends in the game. Yu Yu Hakusho, Trigun, Paranoia Agent, Claymore, Parasite.
Frieren.
Oh man, Claymore's got some beautiful art, too.
Hunter.
Yep. One Punch
Hunter,
Man.
Overlord.
And more recently, Jackie, I think Jackie's pick for anime of the year, Frieren, right? Yep, there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the anime adaptation. And we have Jackie in the building, so of course, we would be remiss if we did not allow her to talk about the music, because she is all about the music when it comes to these shows. So the floor is yours, ma'am.
I do have the first and second opening already written down. But yeah, so the first opening, it's called "The World" by Nightmare, and if people don't know who like Nightmare is, they're more of like your punk rock type of band in like America, if you will. But they end up doing this like opening that's, anytime that anyone hears it, it's like listening to, I don't know, a Naruto opening. Like as soon as you hear it, you're like, yep, this is Death Note, and everyone like headbangs and does their thing, and they just love it. So I thought that it was really great. Like I think this band is sick. The other one is the second opening, which I personally really like. It's got that screamo, and I think this is one of the first animes back in the day, not the first, sorry, the few that were actually using more darker tones and music on top of, like for openings, not so much the OSTs that are in the background, but the opening itself where they're introducing more screamo, if you will.
Yeah.
And that band is called Maximum the Hormone, and their song is called "What's Up, People." It's just a sick opening. Sometimes I forget like how good the openings were in like older animes back in the 90s, early 2000s, but the openings, both of them are great. And what's interesting is that the anime was only adapted into one season, but it's just 2 parts.
Yeah.
So you have your first part is like the one opening, which is the world, and then What's Up, People, which I did think that was interesting. They stuck with the theme of the world, and then Nightmare is the band, with like the show. But then they went like, I still think the song fit, but then it's like What's Up, People. So I always make jokes, and I'm like, Light's like, What's up, people? I'm still here.
Yeah, and then
you have And then you have like just the looming, like, you know, the choir always in the background throughout the whole show all the time when like he starts writing in his notebook and he's going crazy and the choir's just getting louder.
That's a memeable thing. Like you'll see certain TikToks, people will like be in thought or like having inner monologues and that'll be playing in the background and stuff. So it's a very like I said,
soundtrack really sick.
It's ingratiated in pop culture at that point. You know what I'm saying? And I think another thing that's pretty cool is the same band that does the opening for the parts of the season also do the ending for it. So Illumina was also performed by Nightmare, the ending for part 1. And then Maximum, the Hormone, did the ending as well. What is it? Zetsubu Billy? And they've done openings and endings for multiple anime. I know Maximum recently just did, and we'll talk about Chainsaw Hero in a future episode. But the thing about Chainsaw Man is each episode I think had a different ending. Like it was never like a batched ending, and I think episode 3, the ending was done by Maximum the hero. And the Nightmare also did the opening for Claymore. So it's just one of those things where you're just like, you know, like certain bands, they just have it. And like recently, I think Creepy Nuts, who do the opening, bro.
Don't even get me started.
Bro, I think they're about to be the next up. Like Lisa had it on lock. You know what I'm saying?
Mrs. Green Apple.
Yeah.
We got Lisa.
Yeah. So there are certain bands that, you know, if you listen to their albums, you're like, man, these are pretty good. But they also know, like, they're very strategic with like the music they make. They're like, this could possibly be an opening for an anime. So, you know, it's a thing. But the music across the board, I think the opening and ending is good. But I'm as I gotten older, I learned to appreciate like the soundtrack while the show is playing and how the music fully embraces you into the moment.
The whole theme brings you into it. It like ramps you up because not only are you already like your heart's racing because you're like, what's gonna happen? Now you have the music that just adds.
The choir in the back singing. You're like, something's about to happen.
Yeah, the choir was definitely. Yeah, that. And I also feel like the music in the actual like episodes, like one of my favorite is when Light is following the recently widowed woman.
Oh my god!
The music and the way I know it's not real camera movements because we're talking about an anime.
Right. That's actually my least favorite episode, by the way.
I know.
That made you hate him, huh? You're just like, this motherfucker's got to go.
The feeling that they conveyed through that episode. I mean, that episode does an excellent job of just kind of bringing you in the moment. I mean, brings your feelings into it, you know, and they don't, like I said, they don't have actual camera movements, but just the way in which they flesh that out with the music and the action on the scene. It just, I mean, it pulls on your heartstrings, man, for real. Cause you're like, to me, it's a step in the story where Light's taken another step beyond just his noble cause. At this moment, you see he's willing to go outside of what is morally acceptable
for his own good, to protect himself.
And, I mean, that's why I feel like it's such a pivotal episode, even though, like Jackie said, it's a hard episode to watch. It's tough.
Oh,
but
because you think she's getting away.
Yeah. Well, also,
I'm like,
she's. I gotta talk about that episode real quick. Because I was watching that and I'm looking at Steven and I'm like, didn't he say he was gonna go home? What is he doing? Why is he still following after her? Also, why isn't she questioning? Yeah. And she just keeps talking back to him, and then she just ran. It's like when you're playing a video game, you know, and you keep pressing A to talk to the character, and the character keeps telling you more, but you should just go home and start the next part of the story. That's literally what was happening. Like, why is this? This is the worst. I don't like that episode. I don't like that part. I don't like that episode. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Everyone else was so suspicious of him. She's an FBI agent that apparently was able to figure out all this shit. But then he's being super suspicious, following her, keeps asking her questions and trying to redirect her attention.
Well,
but
I put all that to the point where, her husband. I mean, she's like in a vulnerable spot, very
Yeah,
emotional.
she's hurt.
Like she knows enough or whatever research she had to know that Light is suspected and not to give her real name out because Kira's around and all he needs is a name
That's the
X,
other
Y, and
thing.
Z.
Yeah.
But she was just, I think Light just preyed on the fact that
Her
he knew her,
vulnerability.
the vulnerability of that, which
was
that's kind of
following
along
her,
the
like-
lines where it's like, was he the bad guy up to that point? You're just like, well, he's just getting rid of criminals, you know, and I get why, you know, the investigating force is after him because you just can't have people killing people without trials and stuff. But like when he started crossing over to killing legit innocent people to protect himself, that's when I'm just like, all right, this motherfucker's got to go now.
Yeah.
You know, like I was on the fence with you, Light, like, because I get what you're trying to do, but
Yeah. I feel like she was initially, I think she was hurt, but I felt like she was smart and experienced enough to where she thought that she could get enough information too by talking back to him. She's still trying to figure out.
She's trying to get information too.
Okay.
So she wants to know, but at that moment, she's not at her full capacity because she is dealing with the loss. So I think that her want to catch him and overshot her ability at the moment because she was easier to prey upon at that moment. But it's still rough. I mean,
sorry to go back to the morality point. I actually would argue that the 7th episode, which is before everything about her, is when he started losing his morality, because when that spokesperson for L went on and it was, he didn't know, right, that it was actual convict, you know, and then he was like, gonna kill him.
Yeah.
That was not. That is like, damn, dude, he's just gonna do whatever he needs to do at this point.
They're on to me. Whoop.
yeah.
They're
I
on to
felt
me.
like
Dead.
with the wife, it was kind of unnecessary because, like,
well,
she was walking away.
She was going to go to the police station and say, like, this is everything I know, which that was evidence that that whole entire team didn't have yet.
Well,
so he was like, because he knew how brilliant L was. If L had that information, it would have sped up the suspicion. He knew he was already under suspicion. It would have sped up the timeline, if you will, of like when it would have figured it out, and it would have been, we would have been talking about a whole different anime right now.
Yeah, true.
Bro, the visual of her walking away and then the stairs leading up to the gallows and Light with his fucking I won. Like, bro, every time he had an episode where he just had that smirk, like, I got away with it again. I'm just like, damn you, Light. You know, it's just like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just such a great show to the point where, I don't know, some people take Rotten Tomato scores as the gospel. Some people don't. I will say they are better than IGN when it comes to like grading shit.
Oh yeah. IGN needs to stick to video games and not fucking.
IGN jumps in. They throw.
How much money did they give IGN? That's all it is. Like, did you give them did you flip them out? Oh, IGN loved it. We loved
9
it.
out of 10. Great story.
He's counting his money. He's like, it was great.
Yeah,
great.
It's good.
IGN literally stands for Imagine Games Network. What are you doing? Rating on fucking anime or TV shows or movies.
They
stick to what you think you know, which is, I would say, when it comes to video games, they're a little bit more right.
Yeah. They're about
maybe
60%. Yeah, they're okay with video games.
But stop, like,
movies and shows.
Like IGN 3. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
But I mean,
go ahead.
No, you're right. I was just, go ahead. I was just backing you up on that.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm done.
Rotten Tomatoes critics give the anime 100% certified fresh.
100, yeah.
And critics gave it 96%. So I mean, it's
rare,
like not critics, but like the audience, like people will,
the people that matter.
Yeah,
I take them more than I do
the popcorn is more than the tomato to me.
Is who's gonna give it to you for real? But I mean, I also looked up some of the ratings just to see, because I mean, IMDb gave it like an 8.9, which is pretty high for IMDb when it comes to anything outside of like
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Shawshank
I do
Redemption. That's
too.
a really good movie.
I do
It's a
too,
great
but
movie, but
IMDb
I mean,
is just like, this is fucking the pedestal of men movie making, and I'm just like,
if you're not Forrest Gump or Shawshank Redemption, you lose points
You're at
just
8.
for
You
not
get a
viewing those movies.
solid 6
Yeah,
on a
exactly.
good day.
But no, I checked some of the anime fan sites, and one of the anime, I think it's called My Anime List. Yeah, that's where I went
Yeah.
and
Oh,
got
I
some of the-
have that because that's where I keep a track
Yeah,
of my
and they're pretty
watch.
good about stuff.
Dropped.
They gave it an 8.6, and that's pretty high for them as far as, I mean, considering that it's an older anime and it doesn't have the action in it. Because I mean,
right.
today you see stuff like Demon Slayer and One Piece, and you're talking, serious action visuals. The
Yeah.
special effects have gone to new levels, and for this to rate 8.6 for, being dated as it is, it's impressive. So
Well,
it shows
I think back then. So one thing about Madhouse is back then Madhouse was like the Mappa
Yeah.
that we know today. And also the founders, some of the founders of Madhouse, I guess one of them actually left Madhouse and became one of the founders of Mappa.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense why it's an 8.6, why the animation looks so great, and there's a lot of detail that was put into and time that it took to put into like the show itself, because you had people like that caring about the story that the creators told, and the illustrator and what they were trying to show, and then putting it into an adaptation that looks fantastic. The visuals are great. Like, I think there was one episode that I saw that I was like, there was no faces on two of the detectives. I was like, why don't they have faces? I only saw that one time, so I don't know. I didn't do a lot of research into like why that was a thing, so I would have to Google that right now to see. But that was the only time, and one of the female characters too, her face like went, the animation like was not that great. So I only saw that on one episode, and that was in the 30s.
Right.
So I don't know if like maybe
these people are
sometimes
just like, can we
animators
wrap
might
this up?
Here.
Here.
Maybe at this point Madhouse was getting overworked like Mappa was. I don't know what Madhouse was working at that point in time in 2000. Oh, I don't know actually when the anime aired.
Yes.
I have when it was released for the manga. I don't have when it was aired. I should
It was late 2006, early 2007.
October of 06 to June, or 27 June 07. So not even a full
I don't know
year.
what was airing or what was popular back then, which again, anime was not as popular then as it is now. So I don't think a lot. I don't know. What I have for Madhouse of everything that they did back then, if you will, is like Cyborg 009, which, not gonna lie, is a really great anime. Like, I remember watching that as a kid. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
and then they were
all
doing some
action.
gaming.
Like, Cyborg, like
gaming.
there's action.
They were doing some gaming stuff. Like they did Legend of oh shit, sorry, I'm looking at the manga. I forgot to mention that about the manga. Dang
What's
it.
that? You can go
All
back.
right, let me go back. I forgot to mention that what the creator and the illustrator, where they got their inspiration from, was from this guy named Shotaro Ishinomori, who was the creator of Cyborg 009, Legend of Zelda, not creator of Legend of Zelda, but different illustrations and stuff like that. And also this guy took credit for co-creating Power Rangers. He's known as the king of manga, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, you talk about inspiration for him. Yeah.
Yeah, inspiration for that. So now you take that type of illustration and inspiration, now you put it in the animation, and now you look at things like Madhouse creators like Parasite, Trigun, right? It was the first season of One Punch Man, and like, so I can see like maybe it was Hunter, Parasite, and Trigun. Maybe they were working on all of those.
Yeah.
Maybe Overlord, because Overlord I think is
also
that's
another one that's Madhouse is doing.
An older one, whereas Freerin and Hunter, or sorry, not also Hunter was the second adaptation, so I think that's the newer, not the old, and I don't think that came out till like 2012ish.
Right. For
the newer part of that. So yeah, I don't know why the animation style went down a little bit in that one episode. I have no idea. I didn't really care because it was just that one time that I thought was weird. But other than that, like, you look at like how beautifully it's drawn and how it was animated, it makes sense why still to this day it's still an 8.6, and why it is think, in my personal opinion, from a lot of people I talk to, it's in a lot of people's top 10, if not top 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Top 10.
Yeesh. Yeah.
I mean, I can see it. Like, you just got to have that one psychological thriller. Because, I mean, some people have, like, I know a lot of people aren't fans of Paranoia Agent. I came across it when Adult Swim was playing. Like, Adult Swim was putting me on all the, like, once midnight happened, Adult Swim was like, here's the wild ass anime. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's some this kid on rollerblades.
They were doing that. I was like 10 years old, so I had bedtime. So
bro, they were putting some shit out there. I'm just like, yo, this kid on rollerblades walking around just beating people with this fucking bat. Like, what the fuck is going on out here? But no, it's like a lot of things where you're just, you know, it goes from like Bleach or Dragon Balls or, you know, Inuyasha. You're just like, man, this shit is awesome. And then it's just some wild ass psychological shit, Parasite or something like that, where, you know, it's just,
I love
what the
Parasite.
fuck is going on out here? Like, what is happening
Parasite,
here?
but we can talk about Parasite offline. The animation, not the animation, just the talk about it offline.
We'll talk offline.
Some of the characters I'm not a fucking fan of.
Yeah. But have you seen the Netflix adaptation of it though? Parasite
no,
the Grey?
I'm not gonna lie.
That's only 6 episodes.
I steer
though.
away.
Yeah.
I steer away from the live action.
No. I will tell you, because I'm the same way. When what did they do?
Yeah.
They fucked. No. They fucked around and did Bleach.
Yes.
And Bleach is my boo. Bleach is my anime.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. Was it good for the live action?
Fam.
No.
I didn't think so. From what I saw, I was like,
bro, if Netflix was a person, like
that is where I would be like, hey IGN, here's a thing for you to like watch.
IGN's like 7 out of 10.
If IGN would have, if they would have said 7 or 8 out of 10, I'd be like, yeah, we're not watching that.
Netflix is like, here's your check.
It's not a part of it.
However many thousands they get, that's how many.
It is
that's how many
difficult to bring those together. Like Yu Yu Hakusho was a hard show to bring to, you know, live action. When you get to the point of him facing a lot of the demons that he does, you get to. I mean, I feel like it depends on how much money Netflix going to throw at these shows to make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean,
Netflix is losing money, man. Because oh gosh, we're getting a different topic, man. Because that's a whole other thing with Netflix.
Yeah.
But I mean,
other things I wanted to bring up about the anime. I got really excited about some of this stuff. So especially when I found out some of the people who were founders of Madhouse also have done Mappa, which I thought was pretty dope. I'm like, no wonder why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is so great. But fun fact. Light's voice actor, his name's Brad Swale. I have no idea. I was like, what? I kept thinking as I'm watching the dub version, by the way. These are dub voice actors, not sub.
Right.
I'm like, why does this guy's voice sound so familiar? Have you guys watched Hamtaro?
Yes.
Bro, he's one of the fucking hamsters in Hamtaro. I was like, no wonder why. He did all 2000 to 2006. He was in Hamtaro. I'm not kidding. Hamtaro, a lot of other kids shows, and Mega Man, which I think is another one because I watched Mega Man as a kid as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only like dark show that he's done. And then Ryuk's voice actor is the same voice actor of Vegeta.
Yeah.
Brian
I knew that
Drummond.
one. Yeah.
Yep. And then the L actor. Have you guys ever watched the show 100 on Netflix?
Yeah.
That's L's voice actor, Alessandro Giuliano.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know,
I was like, what?
Like you know, every time we do this, and I'm just like, most of the anime I watch is because I did the second watch through of this before the show dubbed, right? Because, you know, I'm doing stuff throughout the house and whatnot. The first time I watched it was sub. I prefer to watch things sub, you know, because I like I feel it's created in Japan. They kind of understand the emotion and stuff that individuals are feeling, and the translation and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So on the second watch through, I watch it in dub because I feel when I go to these cons, it's hard for these cons to bring the original Japanese voice actors over. So it'll be people like, hey, stand in line and get an autograph from the person that does the voice of Luffy, you know, Erica Schroeder. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Cool.
You know, if I watched it in dub, I'd be like, hella like, yeah, sign my shit. But,
Yeah.
you know, I watch it in sub. So I want to say I like your work, but I haven't really seen your work. So I'm trying to go back, you know, because like
sure your work is good.
I'm watching One
I
Piece now. I'm watching One Piece now, and it's in sub and stuff. And people are just
good.
like,
Good,
people are
the
just
dub
like,
is awful.
people are just like the dub is. People are saying the dub is solid. People are telling me I
Really?
can watch the dub, and I'm just
Maybe
like,
now, I don't know. Maybe now, but if you listen to the first
no, the older
300
shit, bro. The
episodes,
older shit, I can't do
dude,
the
the dub
bro.
was awful.
I tried listening to the
Absolute
dub. I'm
god-awful.
just like, Luffy, shut the fuck up. You know.
Yes, it's like listening to fucking Goku.
Really
It's
kill
like
it. It really
listening to
does.
sub Goku and Dragon Ball Z. It's
Right.
like, dude, I cannot
That's what I
do
mean.
this.
Some of those can really kill it so bad. It's like it makes you not even interested in the hero because you're like, I just want him to stop talking. I really did. Just whatever
Yeah,
to make
tough.
him stop talking.
The main character, when
Someone
you
punch
want
him
the
in
main
face.
character to not speak,
Yeah, it's
that
bad.
speaks volumes about
It's,
it.
it's
Who
just-
approves
every
that?
time we do
Who
anime,
made-
Black
it's funny because every
Clover.
time we do anime, we always Black Clover. I was just about to bring it up. Every time we talk about this, me and fucking Willie are like Black Clover, dude. It's so
Because people
bad.
listen, people try to, you know, we're totally not even on Death Note. But real quick, when I bring
Yeah.
up Black Clover and voice acting when it comes to main character, people are just like, well, Naruto his voice is annoying too. I'm just like, bro, get all the way the fuck up out of here. Like
Different.
when
Yeah,
he
I
was a
couldn't
kid,
even-
like he was a kid, and you see him grow into the like it. He was nowhere near where Asta shows up on the screen, fucking energy on 1,000 for no fucking reason, the whole episode. Even when there's times like when he fights and he doesn't talk, I'm like, bro, this shit is dope. But like,
Yeah.
that's not all the time. He's talking
Yeah.
and he's doing doing 9,000 push-ups and shit. I'm just like, it's
So bad.
it's not a good look. But yeah, that's just me and Jackie's. That's our vice. We always go to Black Clover. We're just like, bro, watching that anime just to get to the end of the anime was a job. It was like watching season fucking 2 of or season 1 of Iron Fist on Netflix. It was just like,
Oh,
I have to watch it because Defenders is coming out. I want to know what the fuck is going on. So,
but do you really?
like me and
But to go back-
look, me and
to
my
go
wife,
back-
You
would
could just-
sit
they could
down.
just put
It's
a, you know,
it's
a
7
little
o'clock.
smiley face over Finn, whatever his name is,
Bro.
that plays Danny Rand. Just put a smiley face on it.
Me and my
and
wife
just let
would
it go.
just look at each other and
So
be like,
bad.
it's 7 o'clock. We can get like one episode in, and we would just turn it on, and we're just like, oh my fucking god.
bad.
Like,
So bad.
we're not enjoying it. Like, we could easily just be like, why are we doing this? Well, Defenders has been greenlit, so I want to know if any story from fucking
I mean, if
Iron
you really
Fist.
wanted to, you can just like YouTube a
I mean,
synopsis.
now we can. But at that
Yeah.
time, I'm just like, I want to be
Oh,
in it.
yeah.
I want to be in it once this shit rolls
And
out.
I really
But
like the other people in Iron Fist. The other characters.
when the main
were
character
done
is the
well.
least interesting person.
Yeah,
in
he
the
was bad. and he was-
We're getting way
yeah, way
off
off topic.
topic.
Anyway,
Okay.
back.
All right, reel
I
it back.
do- I want to bring it back to the sub and the dub though, because this is the fun fact. I actually never watched the ending of Death Note.
Mhm.
When I did watch it back in 2010, I think is when I watched it, 2009. I never finished it until today. And the reason why is because the second part of Death Note, because like I said earlier, there's 2 parts.
Yeah.
The second part just, like you said when you were talking about the Iron Fist, it became like a job to just. And I wouldn't, you know what? I'm not gonna say job because it still was interesting. There was still like some of that like suspense, but it ended up like it lost its spark that it had in the first part. And I think just dropped it because I was like, I can't do this. This is not fun anymore, or it's
Mhm.
not as interesting. I'll just come back to it a week later, and then I just never did. So I finally watched the end of it, but while I was watching it, I kept switching back and forth between the dub and the sub just to see like when new characters would show up, what their voice sounded like compared to the dub. And everyone's pretty much sounded the same. I will say that the dub version of Light sounds so condescending. It's insane. It's just so
Yeah.
like, man, let me
Such a-
mansplain to you how to do this job and what I think. And then without spoiling it, at one point, there's genuine parts, like absolute genuine parts of Light. The switch that the dub actor was able to do that actually makes it sound like, or show like, dude, this dude's genuine. He's not a sociopath right now. Is like, I thought was great. I thought it was fantastic voice acting, personally. But Ryuk's voice actor in the sub compared to the dub, I did not like sub Ryuk compared to
dub Ryuk.
Yep. I did not. I prefer dub Ryuk over sub.
Well, in the dub Ryuk is a little more grumbly and dark, right? Like
yes, in the sub he's more high pitched. It's kind of like Goku. Like we keep going back to
he's
Goku.
A little more
Goku.
Comedic almost in his voice in the sub.
Yeah.
But I mean I don't know. His character is very complex too. If you just
his character is funny too. He's just bored. He's bored. He's tired of the Shinigami world where it's like, what are they doing? Which, sorry, another part to add. I love Death Note. I think Death Note was great. Obviously, as we talked about. I kind of wish what they would have done in the second part is delve in deeper into the Shinigami world itself a little bit more, and like, kind of how did this become a thing? You can do that in 12 episodes. You really can. And that's the thing. Talk about what do they call him? The Death Note, the Death Note God, or like I forget what his name is. Like, he's the one who's like in charge of
overtop. Yeah.
The rules, the Shinigami, the notes, and all that stuff. Which they don't ever explain that in the manga or even in the anime. It's just this person exists.
They leave it open, and I think you're absolutely right. It would be 1,000 times better to have had even just an extra 4 or 5 episodes to delve into Ryuk and Rem's what their world is like.
How did they become, or how do you become a Shinigami? How did Death Note become a thing? Like, where did it stem from, or was it always a thing? Fine, sure, you can let it be that. But like, I think if they would have done that a little bit more,
you don't really ever see Ryuk and or any of the other Shinigami, Rem, anyone, how they go about their day with their Death Note. You know what I mean? Like, what was Ryuk doing with the Death Note before he just decided, hey, let's see what happens if I do? You know,
they explain it is that what they do with their lives as Shinigami is it's boring. They just, which maybe that's what the creator is trying to get at, and why he didn't want to go and dive into it, is because it's just this pointless life of like just sitting there. And you at first are really passionate about your job, and that's just writing names, right? And then eventually Ryuk or some Shinigami get bored of that, and it's like, let me go see what the human world has to offer for a little bit until I go back to like my world. But I think it would have been interesting, at least, like, you don't have to expand on it. You have to create a whole nother season. I think it would have just been interesting to expand on that a little bit more. And then how you get to the ending that it got to, right? Because it was already foreshadowed in the beginning of what could or couldn't happen. And that ultimately maybe that still happens, but and the person that did it too still happens, but like, I don't know. I think that would have been nice. And then also, I didn't like in the second part, and I'm getting in. I know I'm not trying to spoil everything, but just for people to understand that when they watch the anime and then when they read the manga, even when they read the manga, it is a totally different dynamic, and it gets a little bit different. It's not to dissuade people from watching, because you still should, and it's still great. But just to prepare yourself that it does take a different type of tone, and the relationships are different. And I also didn't. I also thought that not only did the relationship between Light and some important people fade, but even between him and Ryuk, it was barely there. Like, you would get maybe 30 seconds in an episode. I don't know how the manga is, because I didn't read the manga, so I don't know how often their interactions still were. But in the anime, it was almost like he was just hey, I'm here, observing now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that Ryuk does have he's more prevalent in the very beginning because he's kind of laying down the basis with Light. And it, you know, in a way, he kind of just tells you how everything's going to go in an abstract description of what it is to take on the Death Note. He tells him basically everything he tells him in the beginning, and he recaps it in the end. So he's like, I'm just here for the laughs and the apples, yo. It's like if Ryuk could go find an orchard, he might have never shown.
100%. My man is like,
he is that typical white girl during fall. He's like, where the fuck is my apple tree?
Apple spice, apple.
First of all, real quick, apple is the more superior flavor of the autumn season than pumpkin. That's
disagree.
just my choice.
Disagree.
Apple is the superior fall flavor, but
we can argue about this later.
Bro, you got to go to the apple orchard with us, man.
But I will say, overall, like the property, everything that is Death Note. I mean, it, like I said, 37 episodes in Japan, ran from 4 October 06 to 27 June 07. So for an entire anime to have its run in less than a year, lets you know that one, the writer was straight to the point, didn't want any fluff. This is my story, and then we're done. And to have the balls to really end it and not try to continue it and do any extra. So I know we're talking about it'd have been nice to have, you know, more in-depth story of the Shinigami world and this, that, and the third. But for a writer to just fully be cool to pull the chocks and be like, that's it. Because I feel a lot of these writers are forced to
add on more seasons and just put in stuff just to continue.
Yeah, so it just takes away their intended creativity. Like, this is when I wanted to end the story. But because it's making money, people are just like, you know, if you do another season, and then it's and you're just like,
you'll have to let me know when you're gonna be ready to talk about spoilers, because I'd be interested to know something.
Oh, real quick, we'll get there real quick. But another thing I wanted to say is, like, the groundbreaking thing that this anime did is, while it was airing in Japan, Viz Media had the license to allow U.S. members to download, to own, or download to rent the same week. So, like, an episode would drop in Japan, you would be able to download through, I forget the company. So it was actually the first.
Viz Media did that?
Viz Media, yep. So it was actually the first simulcast over here in the States where you would have to go and download it.
Crunchyroll was not a thing.
Not in
Funimation. Was Funimation a thing back then?
Not 06, 07, no.
Yeah.
So
I mean, back then I was pirating everything, so.
Oh, Pirate Bay, bro, for life.
I was a kid.
So I've heard.
Look this up.
Or so I heard. So I've heard Pirate Bay was where to go. BitTorrents and all that stuff. But I thought that was crazy that they tapped into that, and it still took as long as it did for things like Crunchyroll, Funimation, High Dive, things like that to kick in. Netflix, obviously, like, streaming wasn't really a thing in 07 or 607. So for it to be as popular as it was over here, and then Viz Media knowing that there was an audience for that here in the States, that people are willing to buy to either download it to own or download it to rent to watch it instead of waiting for it to be released DVD-wise over here in the States, which most anime were. I thought that was pretty groundbreaking, and I thought that would have opened the door sooner for more anime to be, I guess, disseminated that way here in the States. Yeah. But no, like, overall, like, 3 live action films, which don't watch them.
TV drama. There's a musical. Did you know there's a musical?
I did. There was a musical for Bleach as well. I'm just like, bro, Japan, y'all love y'all shit, bro. Like, I'm just... Y'all come up with some shit. Y'all like, hey, we got musicals. We got 3 movies coming out. We got a live action drama. We gonna sell this shit to Netflix. I'm just
not gonna lie.
bro.
I would love to watch the musical just to see
any anime musical. If it comes,
I need subtitles. Like, can they just put them up on the screen?
I'm just here for the music.
Wow, I can't even imagine how a musical would go for that.
I'm just here for the music.
I imagine it's gonna be a lot of comedy,
like an opera.
I think on Ryuk's side, maybe. Oh, maybe it's more. I have no idea.
I would think it'd be more of an opera.
Actually, I'm interested. I'm gonna Google it.
It got to be like an opera.
Because I mean, I can't see Death Note on Broadway. You know what I'm saying? everybody's just
out,
clapping
just like,
and snapping and people dying all over the place. Like, hey, what the?
Ryuk's got a little cane, he's spinning.
Yeah.
So it's real, and it's them. There's like different. Sorry, I'm like reading this as I'm thinking out loud. So he sings a song called "Where Is the Justice," and then to Shinigami. Then
I don't like it already.
we'll talk about they'll sing "Gods of Death" or "They're Only Human." There's like so many. There's different ones, and they go through all their performance. So it's supposed to be like a drama type of thing. Like I think of like Shakespeare, if you will, like type of drama musical. And when I think of musical, I think it's wrong to call it a musical. Maybe it's more of a play.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I could buy off on a play, but
Yeah, Where's the Justice apparently is in Change the World is done twice. And there's an Act 1 and an Act 2.
It's a play. It's a Broadway thing.
Oh,
Not so much a
it is a
musical.
broad. That's what it is. I think that's
Somebody-
the better way to put it. It's a Broadway. It's a play. It's not so much a musical. That's like more fun. I think it's just more like there's probably more choir-ish type of singing when they're talking about whatever it is that they're doing, showing them whatever.
Before we get into the point and warn people that spoilers are afoot, have you guys tried watching the Netflix series?
No.
The Netflix movie?
No, it was a
No,
it was
there's
a
a
movie.
series.
No, it was a movie. You're right. It was a Death Note
Oh.
movie.
The movie was
Yeah.
I watched that. Unfortunately, I can't get those hours back of my life.
It was so bad.
Yeah, I heard
I
it
mean,
wasn't
they had
good.
Lakeith
That's why I didn't
Sanford. You
watch
know, I'm
it.
like, Lakeith is in
Exactly
it.
what
Okay.
Billy said. They put 37 episodes into a 2-hour movie, and it makes no sense. And you're just like, it's awful.
Jackie, it's
Really.
Full Metal Alchemist.
I won't
You
watch
got
it.
all of those episodes, all those chapters of manga. They're just like
Listen, I watched
110
the trailer,
minutes.
and that's all. I just needed the trailer. I watched the
Bleach.
trailer.
You got fucking 378 chapter, 120 minutes to tell this fucking arc. Like, stop doing
What?
that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is that people are trying to take. It's not like a book, dude. It is
Mm-mm.
booksa.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you cannot take like just this whole thing and put it into one thing.
Right.
You can't do that. I don't know why they keep doing it. I don't understand why. It's very frustrating. It's very annoying.
The only times you've ever seen anything like that work out is stuff like, okay, I have to give it for source material to the big screen or to a movie.
Yeah.
You probably cornered the market when you had like Lord of the Rings and stuff. Okay, they put the
And
effort
they
in.
still create how
and-
many movies did they
Yeah, it's like
build
10
of
hours
the
of
book?
movie though, in order
Yes,
to get
and
those books.
Let's not even talk about the like uncut version.
But
Or
I
the
mean,
editors,
that's
by the
close.
editors, whatever. Like that.
I mean, and
Your
that's
5 hours of your life is that fucking book.
yeah, and it's only 2 books that they're trying to convey over 10 hours.
Mhm.
But if you look at all the others, I mean, and some of these manga go on for like, we're talking years and years and years of just manga after manga for,
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you trying to put Bleach into a 2-hour movie? It's like 2 hours wouldn't even cover the beginning of the whole damn story.
Oh, and you better have the budget to actually show the correct effects.
Oh my
and-
God. They do
Dude.
not. Did you see?
The
I won't
picture-
watch
After,
it.
no. Hold on.
I refuse.
After this question, we'll
All
just
right.
after
Should I look
this
up?
we'll be talking about spoilers about Death Note because there's no way for us to really relay how amazing this show is without talking about some of the biggest plot twists, reveals, all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
Attack on Titan has 3 movies. I watched the first live one. And it was the worst thing. And this was like released in Japan. I'm just like, the Japanese created this amazing story. The manga was amazing. And it's almost, you could almost say this is in the same realm as Death Note when it comes to plot twists and suspense and reveals and betrayals. And I'm just like, on top of the action that you get from the characters in it. So like, Attack on Titan is should be credited with bringing anime to the forefront here in the Western hemisphere. But the movie is ass, complete ass. The CGI ass. I'm just like,
What?
this,
type of
I'm like,
ass.
bro,
I
the
need-
worst, the absolute worst. It was one of them things where like, Xbox Live was like, go to the Xbox store. All these anime movies are on sale. It was like 99 cents. And I'm just like, I'll
Yeah.
download it. I'll check it out. And I'm just like, I could have got a fucking Frosty from Wendy's and been more happy with. It's so bad. And then you just go and look at the anime and you're just like, I don't understand how Hollywood is drops the ball on, not Hollywood, but even whatever they make. What's the Hollywood of Japan? I don't know.
I have no idea, dude.
But like they see this
Hollywood.
property.
It's Hollywood.
He can say that.
Hollywood,
He's half Japanese. He can say
Japan.
it. She's like, what?
Hollywood.
But it's like you got this cash cow. You see what Attack on Titan is doing. You see what it's doing. Like the band that does the fucking openings, they're like making their fucking bag off of just traveling the world singing the openings for your anime. Your anime is it. And you're like, it's time to make a movie. Let me put money into this. Toei?
Toei, Toei. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh my
correctly.
god.
And Shochiku Studios in Kyoto.
It was so bad.
So those two are like the whatever.
But
I can
here's
see it
the
being
thing.
difficult to pull off Attack on Titan, but
if you can't do it, if you can't do the visuals live action, don't do it live action. Just fucking do an animated movie.
I'm just confused how they like played that back and were like, yeah.
But the first movie came out and they made 2 more. Like it's 3. The first movie wasn't bad enough for you. You're like, we'll just change it in the next movie. We'll just do it. The third movie's really gonna get them. Like the third time's a charm. It is bad, but
it's kind of the same mistakes they made with Bleach, though, right? Because when they create the special effects, if one problem that the Japanese studios do is they try to go practical effects in situations when the practical effect is not going to carry it, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not going to practical effect one of the Titans from Attack on Titan. It's going to look ridiculous.
No, they CGI it, but it's just bad CGI.
It's bad.
It's like Amazon Prime, like the B-list movies on Amazon Prime, where you just go there, you're just like, man, Amazon just lets anybody upload movies on their shit,
I made a movie. Amazon bought it.
Yeah, well, Amazon said I can put it on there, so here it is.
$19.50 for it.
Somebody's homemade claymation fucking movie on that shit. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is a part where we will get into spoilers for it. So if you have not seen Death Note or read it, when the description comes out, or when we put the video out, we'll put it in the description where you can pick up when we get into anime that we're going to recommend to put on your radar. But we talked about it, and this is one of those shows and stories where it's so great. The plot twists, the reveals, the betrayals, all of these things. There's no way we could have, all 3 of us, talked about this show and not got into spoilers. So if you have not seen it, we will take no harm, no offense in you bowing out and checking us out after we edit the video for you guys. But we about to talk about Death Note. If you've seen it, feel free to dabble and join the conversation. But the floor is open now for spoilers. So I don't know which one of you 2 want to get into it first.
Can we take a shot first?
I'll be right back then.
Yeah, I'm going to have to reload.
Yep, it's time to reload.
Okay. Ladies, this will probably be a longer episode. So just brace yourself for this stuff.
It's been a while.
We'll be right back. It's been a while. Be right back. Per the request of Jackie, we refilled our shot glasses.
Yeah.
And we are good.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
I'll remember my smoke pit one next time, I promise.
I think we need some Eat the Cake shot glasses.
Yeah, we do.
Cool.
Shirts.
Good stuff like that.
All the shirts. I wish, is Black still watching, by the way?
I don't know. Where's he at? Probably not. I don't know.
I did get the shirt for the DFPN network.
Ooh.
DFPN.
Sweet.
DFPN.
Yeah, I love it. DFPN,
Nice.
Thank you. I don't know why I said DAF. I think I'm thinking of, what is, you know what I'm thinking?
Yeah. Nerd.
Jesus. Yeah, I got it in the mail. I forgot to tell you guys. I got so excited. I forgot to text you. I was just so excited I got the shirt, and then I moved on. I have ADHD. What do you want from me?
All right. So, spoiler time.
Spoilers.
I know you were fighting them, Jackie. What you want to talk about?
Tough.
There's so many.
I won't go first. You guys.
All right.
Whitley, you can go first.
I'll break the ice on this. 37 episodes anime wise. I would say probably the last 10 episodes or so. So, spoiler alert, like I said, you have Light, who's the one with the Death Note, L, who comes onto the Japanese task force to find him.
Who's originally from America.
They are both genius level chess. I mean, it's like if you've seen the Sherlock Holmes movies where Robert Downey
Absolutely.
Jr. and Moriarty, they're just imagining the fight. They're like, if I do this, he's going to do this. If I do that, he's going to do this.
Yeah.
This, that, and the third. That is Light and L.
100%.
They're both equal level intellect. L does figure out a way, or Light does figure out a way to take out L. And I will say after that episode where L passes, it kind of, I'm just like, his main competition is gone. Who's next?
Mm-hmm.
And then they,
Do
like
you
I
guys
said,
agree with how he died? Okay.
No, because
I don't think that's how that should have gone. I wish it was Light.
I was
should
mad.
have been Light.
I was mad that they introduced Shigenami having fucking emotional ties to.
Yeah, that confused me, and they never go.
I'm like,
in
why
to
do you
explain
fucking
why Rem was
fucking care?
Yeah. I don't understand. They never really go in and explain how Rem could develop that level of
care.
The most explaining they ever did was with that one Shinigami who fell in love with a fucking human girl, which made fucking sense because it could happen. He just became infatuated with her as a person, and then she was about to get stabbed by that random stalker, and he saved her life, and that's how they revealed how Shinigami died.
Yeah.
That was the most in-depth that they went in anything, but not on the two main Shinigami. I don't understand why they didn't.
Because there was no reveal on how Rem and what's her name? Misa had any kind of emotional bond to the point where she would be like, "You're not going to kill my," and then she just started spazzing out writing shit in the Death Note. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
yeah, and apparently Rem absorbed that other Shinigami's feelings of love. I don't understand how that happened, because that's how
is that what they said, or is
that's
that
what other people have talked about? Is they've said that Rem's emotions were like almost like a bleeding off of the Shinigami who actually was infatuated with Misa, but it never explains how did that transfer happen. I mean, maybe I missed it, but the transfer.
No, it doesn't say that. Well, at least in the anime, I don't know about the manga.
Right. Yeah, maybe the manga goes into more depth.
In the anime, she talks about she watched it happen. That's the only reason why she was able to obtain that second notebook.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I didn't understand what his infatuation was, but then for some reason she felt some type of way towards Misa.
Yeah.
Light's
I don't
gonna
get it.
Whereas
Ryuk straight up was like, "Thanks for the time. It was fun. Thank you for fulfilling my satisfaction of needing fun because I've been bored."
Ryuk was just like,
years.
"Yeah, it's been fun.
By the way,
you gotta go. Yeah, you gotta get out of here."
I'm not sitting in prison with you, dude.
It's been real, my boy.
I'd rather go back to my other prison where I at least have more freedom to go pick another fucking human when I get bored.
Right.
I'm about to go drop this on someone else.
Right.
Like, what?
Hey, Light, you was a wild boy. Hey, Light,
top, Light the wild one.
Right. Hey,
you a wild one.
Hey, Light, you was a wild boy. Hey, I'll holler at you. Hey, I'll see you in the other side, my boy.
Heart attack, 11:59 p.m.
You know, and
done.
I mean, really, Light,
the wild one.
The whole Holmes Moriarty feel of Light and L.
Yeah.
carry that first 25, 27
100%.
episodes. I mean, it's just like a, and when Light when L's gone, there is no one that's on par with him. But it because he's already in a decline that you kind of see, Light starts to go down ever since L's gone. You see, it's almost like he's less of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because they jump, like, I think it says they jump 5 years. 5 years?
4. It was 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Light,
it was 23, I think.
He seems less of himself. Almost like that whole ordeal, that whole battle of wits was harder on him than than he outwardly lets it, play. It definitely, all the things he had to do to try to survive L figuring out who he was, it brings Light down, and he's on a decline to the very end, and I don't know, I feel like maybe they meant it to end originally at that point when L goes down.
But just what I was trying to get at before is, I wonder if that was he was originally going to end it around there, but because they wanted more, he decided to add.
Their whole thing is they didn't want Light to win. I don't know if that was more of the company or like Japan as a whole putting a little bit of pressure, like, hey, your show is popular, we can't have this bad guy winning. You know what I'm saying?
Serial killer can't come out on top.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we don't need this shit. What
I think would have been cool is if they had. This is how I think. Again, can't change it. Whatever. Don't want to change it. It was still great. But if I could have wished the creator did something a little bit different, is continue the Light and L saga, because you could have kept it going until a certain point, and then Light gets his name written in Ryuk's notebook, because Ryuk's like, I saw my fun, this was great, I'm over it. And then maybe the season or the show ends where the notebook is seen somewhere and someone picks it up. And it's just showing that even though Light is dead, Kira's still going to continue to live on, but it's left up to the audience to now infer what that might look like or be, and you don't know what happens after that. It's just now the notebook's being picked up by another person. It's just going to be this endless cycle of someone trying to play God.
I just think L, like, bro, he was the only one, like, well, I guess because they only force fed us, quote unquote force fed us L for as the equal to Light, but Light's just like, I made these new rules up in the thing, the user of the Death Note has to write a name every 13 days or they die, and since I haven't written anything in 13 days, he made up rules to put in there that weren't legit rules. And then, so by his mind, he's like, I win because by this rule, I can't be, accused of being Kira. And L's not letting that shit go. He's just like, well, I'm going to have a convict on death row come and write a name in here, and then we'll see in 13 days if he dies or not. And then Light was just like, bro, this motherfucker won't leave me the fuck alone. I gotta get rid of him somehow. And using, old girl to be like, hey, make a deal with Ryuk, half your life again to get the Shinigami eyes because you lost your memory, you lost your ability to see things. And her Shinigami Rim is just like, hey, you're not going to have my human half her life again. I'll start doing this shit. Like, I'm going to start writing shit in here. And Light was like, either you're going to do it, Rim, or my girlfriend's going to do it. Either way. But there was a point where I'm sitting there, like, as a normal person, like, Light, you've been acquitted, right? Everybody's just like, you can't be Kira. Go to fuck home. You got a fucking movie star girlfriend that's obsessed with you. Just go be with her. Just get out of here. But you're just here all the time. Like, you're free. Like, I think even Elle said it. He was like,
why are you still here? You're all the
free to go.
You just want to stay here on the outside.
Yeah.
Like,
girl comes here. You hang out with her for like 5 minutes, and then you come back up. I'm here to make sure we capture the killer. Like, You're so over the top. You're Kira.
It was almost cringeworthy. And that's also what I was getting at, where in the very beginning, before Light decided I'm going to lose my memory, which I was genius. Like, the way that it went on, I thought was great. Which is what I was getting at with the voice actor. Me and Steven were talking about this. That voice actor on the dub did so good, sounding like a sociopath and condescending and just like all these things.
Yeah.
And then changed how he was able to portray like being so genuine now, like losing memories and being able to do that through like, you know, like I'm imagining being a person in a microphone in a booth and looking at a TV screen. I think like kudos to this voice actor for doing that. And then as soon as he got his memories back, to switching back to that. But I thought it was funny, Elle knew things were changing because Misa had when she got her memories back, was like originally fighting against Light and Elle about everything, and then Light says one thing, which he still had his memories gone, and Misa goes, "Yep, whatever you need me to do." Like Light, and immediately Elle was like, "What the hell?" Like he immediately picks up as soon as someone does something different or sounds disingenuous. He sees it, or he senses it, and he already knows it's not right, and just like starts putting the puzzle pieces together.
And that's why I was kind of surprised that, because Ryuk is always watching, you know, part of it is just for his entertainment.
Yeah.
But I felt like he really enjoyed the back and forth between Light and Elle. You know, he seemed almost annoyed by the whole introduction of Misa and Rem. It took away from his game at first, it felt like. And I was like, I don't know if he perceives it that way or just as an interesting obstacle being thrown in. But regardless, I would have wondered what it would have been like if at a point, like you said, Light was done. He could have walked away, but his ego wouldn't let him. He wanted to be able to say, "I won over Elle."
Not only that, he had that insatiable thirst to be God.
I think
he wanted to be Kira.
No,
well, you guys ever see in the very first opening when you guys know the Michelangelo? This is the symbolism I was talking about. Where the Michelangelo
the Sistine
painting,
Chapel.
Yeah.
Where they're not touching. Yeah. Right, because you cannot actually touch God, but in the art in the opening, Light is touching Ryuk and holding like his hand while Ryuk is handing him something to show that he has been touched, if you will, by God. So he is obtaining God's powers, which is forbidden technically. Like you are able to communicate and be a messenger, not so much as be able to have the same powers. So it already foreshadows that like he is doing the something that is not unthinkable, but considered a controversy, or not sin, but that should not be happening. Like that is forbidden. Like you should not be doing that. And then one thing that it shows too, symbolism wise, some people talk about it, is when Light got his memory back, and if you noticed in the show, like Elle just kind of, it's almost like he already knew. He accepted he's gonna be defeated. Like that's it. He fell for it, fell into the trap. It is what it is. And it's almost it's depressing because he's almost more upset that Light actually is who he knew who he thought he always was. He actually gave him a chance and thought he was something different, and now he isn't. I think that for Light too, he's a little upset, not only because like, yeah, maybe it's over with, but if you remember, Elle brought up something about him being his first friend. I don't think Light ever has had genuine actual friends, because he's always needed someone to be on the same level as him, and that hit him in certain ways. Yeah, and when Elle was cleaning Light's feet, if you remember.
Yeah, after they came in from the rain.
Yeah, some people say it's a symbolism of like I forget who. It's like cleaning. It's like religious, like where you're.
Oh, when Jesus was cleaning the feet of the prostitute.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, where Jesus is now cleaning the feet of people who have sinned or are supposed to be not good people.
Yeah.
So it's L, like, knowing he's not a good person, but he's choosing to treat him.
I think
otherwise.
L kind of, yeah, he felt a kinship with Light because they were both so mentally
equals.
sharp. He was his only equal in the world.
Right.
You know, I mean, to be
And they
around
both wanted justice and a sense of justice, just different ways.
Yeah, but overall, he respected Light's intellect. Even if he would have caught him, no matter what, L was intrigued with Light. Even though when he thought it was Light and he got, then Light was able to dissuade him for a period of time, he was impressed with Light more so than anyone on his task force, anyone he ran into. He was impressed with Light.
Yeah.
Light meant a lot to him, and their interaction was probably the most socialization that L had ever had. So at that point, seeing that he was wrong and that Light ended up being evil, I think he just accepted the fact that, hey, this was my only... I wanted Light to be good because he was my friend. He had become his friend.
Yeah, that plays into it. But I think L knew the whole time. Like, remember when he showed up to the school, he was like, bro, Light, I believe you're Kira. Like, he knew. But the problem is, like, he is so, like, off the charts smart. Like, he just can't go and tell Japan like, bro, this is the dude, I'm taking him in. Like, he had to get some kind of evidence to show them. Like, he knew the whole time that Kira, because even in that scene where they're out in the rain, and my man was just like, how long have you been lying? You know, and Kira's like, what
he's
the?
Like, have you been lying since you were born, or something like that?
And Light was just like, yo, what the? Like, this motherfucker stays on my neck. Like, just
I
goddamn.
think actually his question was, have you ever told the truth since you were born?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like the rain,
he's
like
so adept at lying.
That scene, like, because the sound of the rain stops, it's muted.
Yes.
Like, because I'm just like, shit, is something wrong with my TV? That is Light fucking trying to think of a fucking explanation. Yes. And, bro, kudos to Light for just, coming up with some shit off the top of his head like that. But I'm just like, L fucking knows. And the fact that he does know and still is just like, let me dry your feet off, bro. Like, let me, like, we're doing this back and forth, this fucking dance. I appreciate the challenge and shit, but I'm gonna get your ass. And then when he was there, and he's just like, I got this dude coming through, a convicted felon. He'll write a name in here of another convicted felon. And if he doesn't die in 13 days, then this rule is gone. And then I can point my finger back at this motherfucker here and be like, Light is the dude. And Light's just like, I'm tired of this shit. Here's my plan. And he fucking used that, Rim's emotional attachment to be like, either you're going to do something or I'm going to half the life of your human. And she's going to get me that, like, either way, I got it. So either you die or... And then, Rim writes it, turns into dust, and he goes and picks up that fucking death note. And I'm just like, I get it. Like, I'm a big sucker. I'm a fan of the good guy not always having to win. Sometimes the bad guy can win, but this one just felt kind of forced with the whole the whole Shinigami, this whole Shinigami being like, oh, you can't take my human. Don't do that. Like, come on. Because Light had him. L had him. L had him dead. Like, L was just like, and we're canceling this rule out, and we're going to cancel this rule out. The fact that Light was so legit down, like 10 toes down in his lie, which, as a first sergeant, like, I'm just, some airmen come in, you're just like, bro, like, you're getting shaky on your story here, bro. Like, you got to either, you in or you out. You in or you out. Light was 10 toes down because when L was able to talk his dad into driving him in the car and being like, I'm going to shoot you. I know you're fucking Kira. I'm going to shoot you. And he was waiting, trying to see if that would get Light to be like, all right, Dad, don't shoot me. I am, but Light was just like, I'm not. Like, like the emotional stuff that L was putting people through to see if Light would crack, and Light would not crack. L is just
even
like
with Misa, like being confined,
and then they confined.
Oh my!
They confined him too. Like, they were both in jail for like 50 days. They're like,
with Misa,
fam.
it was not of her own will. Like, the way that they just completely like
blindfolded
restrained
her and all
and
that
I think
stuff.
they said it was like, so they said 50 days.
Yeah, 50 days like that.
But Misa was already confined prior to
Before,
that.
oh, yes, right. Yeah.
So she was confined for over 60 days. That is 2 months.
Yeah.
And when she first got confined, she was technically kidnapped, right? Or put into custody blindfolded.
Right.
When she knew. Then she lost her memories and thought she had got kidnapped by a stalker.
Bro, Elle knew she was
so
the
she's
second
staying there
Kira.
for 60 fucking days.
Elle knew she was the second Kira, but he had to prove it to the other people. Because they wouldn't understand, like, on his level, like,
No
bro,
proof.
I just fucking know.
Actual
Right.
The only thing Elle was lacking was the hard evidence. He already had put the puzzle together.
For the non-intellects.
Yeah. He needed to be able to, present that to those who weren't on his level.
Right.
Who couldn't see it by looking at it.
Right.
So he is like, all right, I need the hard evidence. That's the only reason he's pushing for that rule to be shown.
Yeah.
Because then it would, but he already knew, like you said. Elle knew, man. But his bond had grown with Light. And I don't know if it was like I don't know.
I think he appreciated the back end. Because, like, I don't know
was
what all goes on at that institution. But
yeah,
coming out and, like, I don't know how many cases he's probably solved, like, in a day or something. He probably shows up like, you stupid fucks, it's this, this, and this. You know, and they're like, oh, thanks for coming through and helping us. And then he gets here and there's somebody that's challenging him. And he's like, oh, shit, I haven't felt this way in a minute. You know, like.
The same thing for Light.
Right. And Light's just like, well, damn, I thought I was the smart motherfucker. Now it's this fucking chess match back and forth, which is the fucking meat and potatoes of why people come to this episode. And then, like, bro, when Light was about to figure that thing out, and, you know, he had his boy delete the evidence and shit. And that's another thing. Light is just like, bro, something's going to happen to me because I know Kira is Light. And he knows I'm getting in on him. So when shit happens to me, delete this fucking evidence. You know, delete all this information. Because I don't want him having any information on what I had on him.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
bro,
Elle went in knowing. I mean, from the beginning, Elle went in, and I think that's what separates him from the rest of the task force. Elle never had any you know, misconception that his life was on the line constantly.
Yeah.
But he was willing to use that to expose Kira. Where everyone else was a little more afraid, Elle was so dedicated to finding him. If his life was lost in the fact of showing Light was Kira, he was okay with it to that point. But I think in that moment, kind of like what Jackie was saying, he had just looked at him like he knew, all right, I'm done. And it's almost like he knew Light had one-upped him. But I felt like Rem was that whole thing with Rem was like a cop-out, like an easy out kind of write-in, you know, because...
The MacGuffin.
It would just...
The one way out for him.
Because it was the only way. It was the only way that Light was going to get out from underneath Elle's thumb.
You know, I would have respected it more if they allowed Light to just be fully devious, to let her have her life again, to get the eyes, to get the names. And Rem...
Well, she got the eyes again anyway. She halved her life again.
That's
anyway.
what I'm saying. Like, bitch. Like, I'm looking at Rem. I'm looking at Rem like, bitch, it's done. Yeah. It's done. You don't need to do all this extra shit. Like, just whatever. You know, it was a whole thing. But let Light embrace the full villain side. You know.
Yeah. I felt like I kind of felt like Ryuk liked the interactions between Light and Elle. And once that went away, I felt like it was less intriguing to him.
He was all about it because he would show back up like, oh shit.
Yeah.
The fucking it's back on. Now things are getting interesting. I'm just like, shit.
He liked pushing Light's buttons.
It's like Jackie said. Dude is bored in the Shinigami world. He's like, oh shit, what's happening here? Like, how can I stir this fucking pot? 100% instigator from the other side of the fucking realm of life, you know, just showing up like, oh, he about to get your ass now.
Oh, that's what he's master of, dude.
Oh shit, he found out about that shit. Hey, what happens when he finds out this rule is fake? What's he gonna do to you?
I mean,
what's funny too is what I thought was funny is that when like Rem, she was like, I'll obey your orders, basically to Light because
Yeah.
he's holding Misa basically over her head.
Yeah.
But then at the end, in the second part, when Nier is asking Ryuk if he rips off a piece of that paper, is it basically the same as writing a name into the notebook? And Ryuk's like, oh yeah, like
100%.
easily, just
Yeah.
didn't give a shit. Like I'm gonna totally fucking tell you, like this is how it goes. I just thought that was
Fucking
funny
just-
that,
Oh, 100%.
but it
You
also
can
goes back to Light's geniusness though, of like making sure he doesn't get caught, because I think he knew, because Ryuk said it. I'm
Yeah.
on your side, and I'm on their side. I'm here for me and me only. At the end of the day, the only way I'm gonna go away is by either me putting your name into the Death Note, or you die, or the Death Note's finished.
Right.
Which, interesting enough, they never explain or talk about how the Death Note gets finished at all.
No
Like,
more
how- what-
space
like,
left.
Is it?
what do
Is
we
it? You
need?
just use all the pages in it. I think.
I
but-
I thought about that
Yeah.
when I was watching the end, and because like Nier was replacing all the pages in the notebook and stuff, I was like, I'm interested to know how many pages are actually in this thing. Is it magic enough, if you will, that it just automatically replenishes paper?
Well,
And at what point is it finished? Is it finished
I think
because the
well, when you
Death Note
think about
decides
it-
whoever the owner is done, or what?
when you think
it
about
had a
it,
finite amount of pages, because that was in the beginning. If I remember right, Light takes that into account when he's removing pages, because he knows there's only so many pages.
right?
So Light has already gone through and seen there is an end
I
to the
remember
book.
that. Okay.
So maybe it's, if you've written on all the space available, that Death Note's closed. But it would only make sense that Ryuk has access to however many Death Notes he needs for the rest of
From
time.
from
He's-
But
Shingeki
then what
Shingeki world.
happens when it gets finished, So is it that the user did what they were supposed to do and they lose all memories of it, and now the Shinigami takes it and it disappears? Or
I
now
think
does that
once a
person
Death Note is-
die?
My understanding, or this is my theory, like, so each Shinigami gets a Death Note, right? So my thing was like, I don't know if, like, because I mean, there's lines on the paper. Like, is it one name per line? Can you put multiple names on the line? Can you write in the margins? Can you write sideways? Can you write small? Can you write like however many names you could put on a page? Is it up to the user? Do they have
Well,
to
you
use a
don't
line?
have to
Like,
write in the margins, because they show in the second half that Mikami, or whatever his name
Right.
is, which is the dude that worships him,
yeah,
he wrote that second girlfriend of Light's name all the way at the very, very top of the
yeah.
page.
So as long
which
as
is
the
outside
name's on the
margins.
page, because I mean, he's
Yeah.
tearing pages and keeping it in his fucking secret compartment on his fucking Dick
Mm-hmm.
Tracy watch, and shit, he's like, that shit was crazy. When my man was just like, he was sitting there like, click, do I write the name on this shit? I'm just like, you motherfucker, bro,
Yeah.
calm down, bro. Like, I keep that thing on me,
Yeah.
like,
He
In a way,
stays
though-
strapped
he keeps that
Speaking
thing
of
on him.
possible
with that notebook paper.
theories, in a way, did Ryuk not achieve his job and get rid of an evil at the same time? Even though he's not good or evil. He tells you straight up.
He's
just
lawful
here
good, bro. Or what is
He
it?
doesn't care.
Lawful
But I
evil,
mean,
if you want.
In the end, indirectly through his actions, he got rid of a lot of evil. Plus, he
Nah,
got
dude,
rid of light.
I think he's considered neutral chaos. Neutral. Is that what it is, babe? It'd be neutral chaos.
But I mean, think about it.
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he's
chaotic
chaotic
But
neutral.
you think about it, he achieved his goal, or he achieved the goal of getting rid of all those people,
Yeah.
and he got rid of light, and he got rid of L. In a way, Ryuk achieved all these goals without doing a damn thing but eat apples, yo. I mean, he just hung out, ate apples, egged them on, and he still got the end result he talked about in the very beginning.
Legit.
I'm going to write your name in this book, or you're going to end
Bro.
up dying. All
Light
people
Light
who
was
did-
like, hey, write this motherfucker's name down. Rook's like, yeah, I'm tired of this shit,
Yeah. But he told him from the beginning, it's like, all things, when a mortal takes control of the Death Note,
Right.
it always ends badly for them.
Yeah.
He told him in the very beginning, it always ends badly. So Ryuk knew, yo, this shit's going to go my way one way or the other. And at the end of the day, I'm Ryuk, I'm leaving, and you did all the work for me.
Yeah.
You know what would have been funny or would have been really crazy is if all this back and forth that was happening, and let's say that like Light got cornered like he did with Nier, but let's say it was with L, for example.
Yeah.
And L's back pocket, like trump card with all the other things that would compile onto it, was Ryuk writing L's actual name into the notebook, and he agreed to do that. But then all of a sudden, Light like starts dying this gruesome death, and it was actually Ryuk who decided to say like, "Hey man, I thought that was interesting, but
I gotta
saw what I
go.
just saw. I'm gonna write your name in, and thanks for the laughs." I think that would have been
My
pretty
thing is,
crazy
like,
and pretty.
I don't know why Rim didn't just write Light's name
Yeah.
in her book
Exactly.
to protect her person. Like,
Yeah.
like
That's what I mean.
that was
You're
the
right.
biggest
Well,
MacGuffin.
no,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
because Rem would have died either way. It wouldn't have mattered.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you want to protect Misa, but you're just like, oh, I can't, and you just start writing
I
everybody
think,
else's names. and
I
shit.
think it's because her feelings were getting in the way of because Misa loved Light and wanted
Oh my
everything
Didn't
fucking
wanna
from
hurt
Light.
her. Yeah.
God.
So she didn't want to hurt Misa by killing Light.
And I thought it would have been interesting to see Ryuk. If L had won, would Ryuk have wanted to go pursue L as
The next
as
person
his
for.
possible-
I think
Yeah,
he would
I
have
mean,
just gone back home, and that would have been it.
I don't
Well, the
think
thing
I don't
too
think
is, like,
L would have been interested in using the Death Note. Like L is just, I don't think he had the superiority complex that
yeah,
that Light
you're right.
had.
He wouldn't have wanted to do that, but I feel like Ryuk would have been intrigued by his mind. But I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs, but
But real
I
quick,
really feel like that
go ahead, man.
the passing of L was just a point that all those possibilities, I think, that we all sit back and go,
Right.
what if, or that all ended when L was gone. So no matter how great the rest of the series is, you're still missing that aspect because all of us had so many ideas about,
I would say,
oh, it could have went like this.
yeah, I would say if L passed at like episode 32, 33 out of 37, I'm cool. But 25, I think it was what, 25 or something. And then like there's fucking 12 episodes left. I'm like, well, what the fuck am I watching this for? And we were kind of talking about it before we went live. The fucking institute that breeds these genius people that
Which they never explained.
no, like they
Just for
they were just like they just went to an office. Some old dude just like
yeah,
L
came
died.
from this orphanage that apparently Watari founded, and he finds genius kids somehow. I don't know.
Yep.
They found out L dies. L says, "I'm dead." They're like,
Right.
"Okay, now we have to do something about what are we?"
Right. So then this institute has a L Junior, which not necessarily junior, but it's just somebody with the mannerisms of L, but has white hair instead of black hair, and some fucking rebellious 15-year-old that's just like, I'm out of here if you don't want to anoint me as the successor.
Yeah.
And then like the next,
He's also like, and I don't want to work with him. We don't work.
work together. And then like literally 10 minutes later, he's like running a fucking mafia in the desert under. Bro, is a whole thing. Like, so if you haven't seen the episode and for whatever reason you're listening to us spoiling it, like once L dies, you can probably stop watching Death Note. Unless you just want to see the, skip to the end episode to see how Light gets his comeuppance. But the shit in between, we were talking about it. It just became like, I gotta watch it just so I know, just so I can say I watched it. That's what it felt like. You're just like, fucking, there's 12 episodes left of this shit and L's gone? Like,
yeah.
What do I do?
Because Nier never measured up. Nier never came close to being as
they tried.
Intriguing as
they kept
as
trying to
L.
write these twists.
They even had him do the same thing where he put his one leg up on the chair.
Yeah, they kept
like,
giving him the mannerisms. And they kept trying to write these weird situations where it's like, ooh, could they? Like, I was too invested in L. Maybe that's a fault on me that I didn't give Nier.
But that's why I also said what they should have done is just focused on or talked a little bit about the Shinigami Maybe you spend an episode or two talking about L's background and Watari and like where
Yeah, the
that came from.
institution. How about you give us a
Yeah.
background on this shit?
Go into the Shinigami's world and then have it be like Light thinks he's on top of the world and he's running shit, and then Ryuk's or whoever, you come into a situation where they're like, yeah, man, by the way, I'm over it. Like, this has been cool.
Yeah.
Dead.
Choo-choo-choo.
I felt he was really over it after L passed.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt
No,
like
I think he was still interested to see what Light was going to do, because I think at least they didn't really show it because Rem was the one that was there. They didn't show Ryuk. They didn't show like what happened. They just fast forwarded to like 4 years later, and now Light is like the lead of the investigation still and running everything. Like they didn't really go into it, and Ryuk's barely like a presence.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what.
At the end of the day, when you look at Light, did you guys really get the feel that his pure intentions, like, because when L died and he caught, like, bro, I was just like, you like, don't fucking put this act on. You know, when he ran and caught L and looked at him, and then it slowly went to a smirk, and L saw that shit. I bet L was just like, I fucking knew it. And then, like, he goes from the smirk to, oh, no. Oh, we'll find Kira and revenge this for... I'm like, you mother... Ooh, put hands on you, bro. Like, it's just... Do you feel, you know, he got L out the way, and, like, left to his own devices, the world literally would have been a better place? Because he was only writing... His intent was only to get rid of bad people and to usher in this new world and be God of it with... Or he kept telling old girl, like, we'll be king and queen of this new world. I think he just wanted to just be the end all say all for this thing. But at the end of the day, like you mentioned, the book only has so many pages. There's going to come a time where you run out of pages for this Light. Then what?
Also, to your point, like, and we talked about this with his morality, he stopped judging actual bad people and criminals, and the world started living in fear that any type of punishment they were to incur, even if they just made a bad decision, that they were now at risk of being written off. And then other people were threatening them to post their name online. It just created other bad people.
Yeah.
To threaten them, to put their name online, to say this person is this type of person and spin lies, because that's all Kira needed, was just to see things on the internet and then just do whatever he wanted.
That's why I
think it created another world where people felt just like him, that they had the power now over them to incur justice, and all they had to do was just post their name and say whatever they wanted and give it to Kira. I don't think that him staying alive and doing whatever he would have wanted to do, I don't think that still would have created this
magical
utopia.
He lacked that portion, like Jackie had said earlier, that he was a sociopath. And if you look into sociopaths and, mental disorders in that aspect, he lacked the capacity for empathy as far as any of the people he judged. Because you never hear Light mention once about anyone who might have had a family or kids or, loved ones, parents. He doesn't go into that at all. So his ability to empathize and so forth. So that road he was on would have hit that steep decline already. When he killed those people who were in charge of different news network shows, and they were like anchors or whatever, who would criticize Kira, he killed them, now, it was part of his ploy to show that he wasn't Kira.
Yeah.
But, he picked them just because his ego couldn't handle the fact that people were criticizing him.
Right.
So it would have only grown from there. I mean, he's just newly a young man.
Yeah.
So as time goes on, and
superiority complex just would have kept
total power.
Well, that's why L also said how he was able to pinpoint it down to someone who's probably a high school student or just a student in general because of his childish idealistic viewpoints on the world because he's not able to understand the hardships of what life is yet to be able to empathize with other people.
Yeah.
He's just seeing bad things and bad people, so he's just thinking childishly and making decisions when that's not the way to do it.
I mean, it's, you know, like I said, he was judge and
Did
Jackie
you say
brought up
Judge
a
Jury
point.
or Judge Judy?
Judge Judy executioner, which would be even scarier.
That'd be
No, but
an awesome
Jackie
show.
brought up a good point. Is his immaturity doesn't let him see the full picture, especially like his lack of experience in life. Because, you know, I mean, just from personal experience, I only had a few murderers that I was in charge of, okay, or that were on my caseload. But I'll tell you what, I mean, one of them, he was released because for what do they call it when they release him because of a health issue? Whatever. Anyway, it was like
Yeah, psychological or whatever. They were deemed
he was
insane.
dying.
Yeah.
Okay, he was gonna pass.
Oh, okay.
But just in my short time with him, I saw like when he got his first apartment, how happy he was to have his own bathroom.
Yeah.
Being able to, you know, when he got a bike from the church and the church gave him a bike so he could go do stuff. I mean, man had already spent 27 years in prison. So you think about it and you're like, Light lacked that life experience and that maturity to see that one mistake or one choice in life doesn't dictate that someone should be condemned to just, you know, be
Death.
destroyed or dead.
Yeah.
You know, so like she said, Elle recognized that early on. Well, I don't think Light would have ever matured to that level because of his fact that he was so egotistical and narcissistic. He already felt he was above everybody else. He wasn't there to learn anything.
I already
probably
know
thought-
it. Yeah.
The way he treated Ryuk too was almost like he thought Ryuk served him. Like, okay, I'll give you an apple. He was very arrogant to Ryuk, and then Ryuk the whole time.
To a goddamn
Ryuk
god of death.
I mean, exactly. You're talking to a demon of death, bro. He could kill you if he wanted to right now.
He's been around the block a couple times, bro.
Yeah. So
Ryu could have literally killed him at any point.
yeah.
He was
So
just wanting to see what he would do.
exactly, but his relationship Ryuk changes throughout the series as you're watching it. Very beginning, of course, it's curiosity. Then he starts to treat him like a slave or like a pet.
Yeah.
And then as the story goes on, Ryuk starts to lose interest in him, and Light seems to have lost some of that edge. And then towards the end, Ryuk's done with him.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, you see that whole change throughout the series. And it's because, I think it's because, like we mentioned, Light never matures. He never grows. Yes, mentally, he's very, very acute. But as far as being able to do anything outside of that or thinking outside of just his intellect,
He's
using more of a
plateaued.
compassion, no. So, you know, I don't think he would have ever improved anything else. I don't think the world would have been better. I don't think he would have changed anything. He would have become just a very powerful serial killer until the day he was killed.
Wow.
Which is what Nier said, because at the end when Light was like, "Yep, I'm Kira, whatever. I'm the one that's made this world better," and Nier was like, "No, you're not. You are a psychopathic serial killer. That's all you are. You've done nothing but kill people. You've done nothing but destroy lives. Like, you're a sociopath. That's just what you are. You were not doing anything better." Something that I thought was interesting is apparently the manga ending, the death of Light, is completely different than the anime one. It's similar, but the way that Light dies in the anime, he's on his own, he's on the stairs, and Ryuk is sitting on top of a tower and then writes his name, and he's talking about all this sentimental thoughts, like you're hearing his thoughts, but he's not actually talking to Light. And then Light just dies from the heart attack. In the anime, apparently it's more gruesome and more pathetic. Light is literally grabbing Ryuk's leg and begging for his life, saying he doesn't want to die, but also he doesn't want to go to prison, so he's begging Ryuk to do something as a Shinigami because he knows he can do something about it.
Yeah.
And Ryuk's then reciting what he's saying in the anime. He's reciting it to him, just smiling this whole time, saying like, "Hey, no, man, it's been fun. Like, I'm not gonna do that. This is the end."
Yep.
And then he like twists up, and he's like, his facial expression, everything's more horrid, and it's actually a lot more sad and pathetic than it actually portrays in the anime, where he has a more peaceful death.
Yeah. Which I feel fucking, that's what you deserve, bro.
Yeah.
I still agree that Ryuk should have been the one to kill him all along. I'm glad that it was Ryuk. I'm glad that he's the one that did it. I kind of wish it was the manga way, though. I think that would have been more.
In the manga, is he?
In my opinion, funny and ironic.
Is he shot in the manga?
Yes, and he's also shot in the anime.
Yeah, I just didn't know if the manga would follow, or the manga did that and then the anime followed, or
Actually, hold on. Is Light shot in the manga?
Because he was gonna live from the bullet wound. I mean, he might have been disabled or injured, you know, long term.
It wasn't like a fatal thing.
Yeah,
or anything.
He did. He got shot also in the manga. So he got shot in the manga. He got shot in the anime.
Okay.
It's just then after that, with Light leaving the warehouse and running away and being on his own and then dying by himself on the stairs, that's what's different than in the manga.
Yeah.
The manga actually shows him like while everyone's in the warehouse, he's clawing at Ryuk's pant leg and grabbing onto him and begging for his life.
Which actually makes a lot of sense because it brings it full circle.
Yes.
You know?
Whereas I still think like the overall ending is pretty sad. With him dying, it's just overall somber. It's very somber.
Yeah.
But I really like the manga ending a lot better, where he's looking more pathetic. Because at the end of the day, those who think they have all the power in the world and control everything, they're actually the most pathetic people at the end of the day. And so it really shows like the.
He finally gets a sense of humility. I mean,
yeah.
Really. Someone who is so arrogant and egotistical, and he finally realizes
he's brought back to reality of I'm not in control. And he never was, because like you said, Ryu could have just ended this shit. Yeah. You were never.
He just forgot. He just forgot.
You're never fully in control, and then when it hit him, like, oh shit, like I'm not in control of life and death like I thought I was. It hit him, and he became human again, mortal again, begging for life and all of this stuff. That the other people who were having heart attacks and stuff he was writing in the book were probably doing the same thing, like. Somebody help me, save me, and he's just up. It's another name in a book.
Yeah, in a way, it's very poetic that he ends up feeling the same fear they felt.
I also thought it was in the anime. What I did like is when he's running, and he has a vision of himself before he found the notebook, and it's him crossing the railroad tracks and reading a book. And himself is walking one way, while himself now, that's like clinging on to life, is running the other way. And it's like he sees that part of himself of what he was before, and it's almost like he was, without even saying it, like, how did it get to this point, and almost regretting his choices. Choices. I think that's it's interesting to see too, like I go back to the dub voicing, like I think the voice acting of him spiraling out of control and entering into his mental breakdown, I thought the voice actor did such a good job at not sounding like annoying. It was just very genuine of like listen to me, I'm Kira, but no, this is a trap, but also like I'm Kira, and just laughing mania. Like, dude, it was crazy. Like, even though those 12 episodes were a little bit of a chore to watch, the last two, I will say, were it was entertaining again to watch and see what would happen, and watching his downfall and spiral out of control when he realizes he lost, and how he took losing for once. Like, he didn't know what losing was ever until he was 23 years old. So that young child that should have learned what failure was like didn't get to learn that until he was technically a grown-ass man.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
But if you've been rocking with us and you've been watching the video through our little spoiler rant, amazing. Give it a watch and let us know what you think about it. But it is time for us to move on to a nice segment that we like to put on here. The put this on your radar, where we kind of mention some anime that you probably may or may not have heard of, and you should probably take a look at. So, without further ado, make sure I got it all queued up. Here is Put This on Your Radar. What up? Again, special shout out to Kenpachi. Hope everything is going well with you, man. Can't wait to get you back on the show and have you bless us with your knowledge on anime we may or may not have missed, because he knows a lot of it.
He does.
Do any of you two? I have one, but I want to open the floor. Do any of you have any recommendations for our fans for anime they should have on their watch list?
I'll let Eric go first. I have two,
Okay.
but I want to see what Eric says first.
Probably that they have all heard of the ones that I know, like Willie had mentioned earlier. I'm more of the classics. So go ahead, Jackie. I'd like to hear what you throw out for us.
So the first one that I want to talk about, which is also controversial because I do have some things to add on to it that are not so great to hear, is Uzumaki. I don't know if you guys have watched the first episode of Uzumaki or even heard of Uzumaki.
I've heard about it.
It is a new horror anime. It's only 4 episodes long. Adult Swim is the one that has animated it, and it's been premiering on Adult Swim as well as HBO Max now, whatever.
Yeah, I have heard of it then.
The first episode is insane. It's great.
Uh-huh.
However, there's some bad news to add on to this, like, really great.
Oh no.
You can Google it, you can read the rumors, but basically the second episode released. It releases on Saturdays at 12:30 in the morning, Eastern time, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And I guess, I don't know what exactly happened, but the producers put out a comment about the most recent episode because the animation was fucking dog shit.
Oh.
It is the worst. When I say, I'm not even kidding, that is the worst I've ever seen an anime, like, out there. You gotta watch it to see how bad it is. Not only just the animation, but the pacing. Me and Steven couldn't keep up. We're like, what is going on? What has happened? It's so bad. And it was so bad, people were commenting on it. The producer put out a thing on Twitter or whatever and was like, yeah, we got screwed over. Apparently, they had 3 choices. The first one was to totally drop the anime altogether. The second one was to post the 4 episodes regardless of what they created, because not to put everyone's hard work out to the trash. Or the third was to, like, keep going, but then potentially not have the fun. I can't remember what the third one was. But he basically blamed it all on when whoever they were working with wanted them to produce this anime, and that they got screwed over, and that's why it's dog shit. I call fucking bluff on that. Because you're not going to tell me that you have top animators like Mappa, who people are literally, like, fucking striking right now.
Right.
They're still able to produce top quality anime in, like, a year, whereas you guys were supposedly animating this since 2019. It's 2024. You can only do 4 episodes, and all of a sudden,
how did they not
2 of them you couldn't do.
Yeah, that sounds like a cop-out for real.
So
how bad are we talking here? Is it like from Cat Dog from Nickelodeon, or is it like Street Fighter on Fox?
Is it like
watching an episode of Jujutsu Kaisen? Okay, like, really great animation, right? Just sick artistry, and then you go back to, like, 90s version of One Piece.
Episode 1 of One Piece.
Shit's not connecting. People are, like, literally, people are gliding across the screen instead of actually walking.
Really?
Dude, it's...
Dang,
Uzumaki,
that's kind of...
What I would recommend for Uzumaki, read it. I think we should read it.
So let me ask
really
you this,
great.
Jackie. There's a couple anime that come to mind where the letdown is fucking astronomical. One is like Seven Deadly Sins,
Yeah.
where the anime is
Not
is,
even.
is amazing. The story, the pacing is good. Even I would even say when the Ten Commandments roll up, like, well, I'm just a fan of that one because my man Escanor and his fucking, hey man, you shouldn't fuck with me. I'm like a big deal around here type shit. Which the biggest flex.
Escanor's daddy. That's father.
Hey, low key, like I wouldn't even be mad. He can be daddy. It's cool. And then you go into like Promised Neverland, where like they just rushed everything.
The story's awful. The
Right.
animation's not the story. Uzumaki's story is amazing.
Right. But like Seven Deadly Sins, the animation drops off like fucking off a fucking cliff from.
Yeah.
But didn't they only do that for a few episodes and then they went
No,
back
like,
to regular?
Like it.
I thought it was certain.
After
It was
10,
long,
after
right after like the
after the Ten Commandment arc, shit just fucking like people are just like, the fuck is going on here? Like, is this a gag episode or?
Yeah, the perspectives.
But
off,
I don't think you're going to waste your time watching the first episode and watching the second episode. Only because I think the first episode was done so beautifully. I mean, I just started getting into horror animes recently, and this one's creepy as fuck. Me and Steven are really enjoying like the horror creepy animes lately. And Uzumaki is one of those. Like, it is just fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
And what the hell is going on? The first episode is amazing. Beautifully made. It's different. The animation style is different. It's black and white. It's really great. Second episode is, I couldn't believe it. We were like, what the hell? There's some things that were like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Like,
but then it like went
show?
back to regular scheduling terribleness. Like, it was awful. So at least you can look at it and be like, okay, fine. You guys fucked up. Let me at least go read it. Because it's where it stems from, that is what is and I can't believe it wasn't talked about more, about what it's like the story and like the drawings and the art. Like, it's insane. Like, it is really, really cool looking. It's a really interesting concept. It's different, which is why I think I like it so much. It's not your standard shonen shoujo or just even like random animes that have like had some type of trope with the main character having powers and going through a whole character development, whatever the hell. Like, it's really cool. But yeah, it's that I have to add in that caveat because I don't want to put people on this and then they come at me and they're like, "What the fuck happens to the episode?"
What about
I'm like,
episode
"Listen,
two, Jackie?
I
the
put it
fuck,
out there."
Jackie?
Come on now.
Thanks
Did
a
you not
lot.
watch you?
I trusted
But
you.
my second one,
betrayed me.
my second one, which, and this is up to Willie if he's into showing the intro or sharing it, because it's so good.
Probably
All
not on the
Dandadan.
live. I'll
Okay.
I put the intro on the eat the
Yeah, I saw it and I was like,
the
that's
page.
Okay.
Yeah.
It caught me right
Dandadan.
away from the intro.
Dan, you didn't watch the first episode yet?
No, I didn't.
Have you watched the first episode?
It's
Willie?
it's on Netflix and it's on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is. First of all, the opening is sick. Creepy
Yes.
Nuts is fantastic.
They're it.
Second of all, the show is so weird. I'm not gonna lie. If for those that are out there, there is a scene in there where you're like,
The fuck is happening? Because I was watching. It's like Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Kids are up, and I'm just like, oh, this shit's about to go left real
Steven
quick.
and I looked at each other. We're like, yo, is this about to be some redo of Healer shit? Because bro, I don't know if we should keep watching this. I'm glad it didn't, continue that route. Thank God, because you can only watch redo a Healer on hentai sites. By the way, don't ask me why I know that. Please don't. You really can only watch it on,
Right.
But this show, it doesn't. It goes into like the weird, but it's so good. Like the art, which fun fact about Dandadan, sorry, I wrote it down, is Dandadan is the animation is made by Science Surrey.
Yep.
Which also did Adventure Time and what was the one we were talking about earlier with it's another anime on Netflix, the oh my god, Devil Crybaby.
Yeah, Devil Crybaby. Yeah.
Yes, which is weird too. Devil Crybaby is also strange and weird, which I'm not gonna lie, I did drop that after 2 episodes because I didn't know how I felt about it.
Yeah.
But I love the art. The art style and the animation was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Same. I don't know who Science Story is. They're I don't want to say they're new and up and coming because they've been doing Adventure Time, but the fact that they're dipping their fingers now into the anime world and they're doing this type of animation that's creepy and weird and very colorful and very like trippy and just
it immediately caught me like a Samurai Champloo.
It's sick.
Right.
Yeah, I was like,
sick.
Wow, that vibe came at me. You know, it was
It's
like
every Thursday an episode comes out. So tonight another episode dropped. So me and Steven will watch it tomorrow. But it's really good.
Yeah,
like
they released the first 3 episodes in theaters. So it was one of those things.
That.
Yeah, it's one of those things you could have went and saw the first 3 episodes. Fire. It's one of them things where, like it, you know, like I'm just wondering, like I look, my daughter works at the AMC, so like I'm able to, hey, get me in there for free type shit.
Okay, all right.
So and then we're up in Hampton, so it's like AMC will be like, look, we'll play this fucking anime shit one day at fucking 3:00. Either you make it or you don't. It's like
3 or it's like at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's like we're not keeping a fucking
on.
Yeah, I'm like, I appreciate it, thank you. So it's a good one. If you've seen Mob Psycho or anything like that, it kind of reminds me of that. Gives me those vibes where you got the supernatural side. So you got science fiction with aliens, you got the supernatural side with ghosts and spirits and stuff. So it's a great watch. Just give it, like I like that it's on Netflix as well as Crunchyroll because more people do have Netflix, so you're able to catch up and watch it. Yeah.
I like that the streaming services are making it more broad now,
more accessible,
rather than just
people,
like leaving it on one. Which I know this is like has nothing to do with anime, but NFL has been pissing me off lately with what they choose to stream.
It's on Peacock. It's on Amazon. It's on CBS. It's on.
So at least they're.
I just want to watch a fucking game.
Prime have their own now. Prime has Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't even want to talk about it. It pisses me. I mean, I have everything, but still, it's annoying. Like, and I have to pay $180 on top of the $80 I'm paying for internet just to watch your shit and to get disappointed.
And to be, bro, as a Panthers fan, I get you. What am I doing this shit for? What am I doing this shit
for? Nothing. Fuck you.
Anyway.
All right.
What I know you said you like the older ones, but those are kind of the ones because more of the people that kind of tune into our show jump on with the newer age anime and stuff nowadays. Yeah. So if you do have some older ones that you would like to recommend, because I have one that's fairly, I guess would be considered old to talk about, but I'll let you go first, EJ.
Yeah, I would recommend checking out Bastard. Just the overall art and flow is, if you like the older art styles, it really shows through detail wise. And I mean, the story's solid. I always watch subs, so I'm used to the voices being matching. And in this one, you don't get disappointed. The characters' voices kind of match the feel of the character as you're watching, so that really adds to it. Mm-hmm. But it's a solid series. I believe they have a shoot off of it too, but I would just catch up with Bastard first and see if you enjoy it. Another one that I found, which isn't old, but just been on this tip of like fantasy or I really like Vinland Saga. Has been very interesting. I know it's not old, but the artwork plus the storytelling is top notch for as well as it's done in dub, because that's the only way I've watched it, and it's done well even for you know a lot of times when you have dub, the translation kind of falters through, and I guess that's why I like timepieces.
Yeah,
because you don't have the this so flagrantly bad translation. Like I'll notice, like even what's not written on the screen, certain aspects, because my mother would sometimes, my mother's Japanese, so she would, like, when I was watching old school stuff, she would go, hey, they didn't say that, but I learned to listen for certain things, and then when you hear it, it's like, oh, that killed it, that really killed it. But no, this is done very well, and I do recommend it for those who want to catch something a little bit older, but still up on par. It's been good.
Vinland Saga is solid. The
Yeah.
openings and like, bro, it's dope. Like if you, because I remember Vikings was the shit for a lot
Yeah.
of people, like on
Yeah.
History Channel or whatever it was. This
And
is
this-
like Vikings on fucking steroids.
Yeah,
type
the
shit.
battles, and oh man,
Vinland Saga is actually one of those ones that I never watched. When I say that, like, I've watched anime since I was 8, but
Yeah,
I was really late to the game to make that decision point of when I was expanding my breadth of like genres. I was always like slice of life, romance, fantasy, whatever type of thing, with like a little bit of like obviously of Death Note and like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, all that stuff. But it took me a while to finally branch out to more like just action, right? Or gruesome, like not gruesome, sorry, more gory type of animes. And I know Vinland Saga is one of those ones that's pretty like gory. And it's been on my, like, we talk about my anime list, right? Like Mal is also the app that it's called that you can download on your phone and you
Yeah.
can keep track of like all the things you watched or dropped or continue watching, whatever. It's been sitting there forever. So I'm glad you brought it up because I'm
yeah.
like,
I
damn,
mean,
dude, I still
and
need to
it's
watch this.
animated by heavy hitters. Like season 1 was animated by Wit Studios, and then season 2 is
Yeah.
animated by Mappa. So, like EJ said,
Yeah.
the
It's on
animation
point,
is
Yeah.
legit.
it's kind of like watching like, you know, the action and violence that's in Berserk,
Yeah,
but
I
on a
haven't seen
new-
Berserk either, which is another one I want to watch.
That is so
I know.
good.
I will
It's
say
so good and so bad.
I heard
The-
there's a scene
listen,
though.
there is a
in
90
Berserk though. That's
the 97 version of it, the animation. It's on YouTube. Somebody uploaded it. It's like a 10-hour block of
It's-
please
Really?
watch that one. You have to
You'll
watch
have to
that
send
one.
it to me.
I will. I'll
Yeah,
send you the
if you-
link because I'm
Yeah,
watching
it's-
it, and like, you know, it's 10 hours, so I'll watch it, then I'll pause it, then you go back to your library, continue watching, and pick up from where. But
It's a great story, and it's very
the worst
It's
villain
not your
in
it's
anime
not your
history.
average story. That's kind of why I like Vinland Saga too. It's not like your protagonist isn't this either reluctant hero or all good great guy. So in both of those series, the protagonist is driven by different instances that happened or events in their life, but they're not sitting there. They're not your Superman, you know, Boy Scout, and they're not your, you know. So it's kind of cool to
Up
see
and
it more.
coming, like they have to go through a whole
Yeah, you don't
character
get the whole,
development,
like,
and they're
you know,
like,
You don't get the I just want to be a normal kid. I can't stand those stories. The reluctant hero, like, dude, any of us, if we suddenly rolled over and we were Superman, we wouldn't be like, oh my God, it's so hard. Life, I just wanted to be a normal teenager. Like, come on, dog. You can fly and you're super strong and shit. I'm like,
Right.
but anyway, the reluctant hero is so played out, it's terrible. Both of those series, actually, a lot of series, even Bastards, another one. The protagonist is more real. He feels visceral.
Bastards animation is like, what's that vampire old
Yeah,
type
like
of show?
Vampire Hunter D.
Vampire Hunter D.
There's
No, not Vampire
Hellsing.
Hunter D. No. It's the old English I don't want to say cartoon, but that Netflix that's had multiple seasons with the vampire.
Castlevania.
Castlevania,
Oh.
yes.
Yeah. Its art's close to that. Yeah, that would probably be a pretty similar art to compare it
Okay.
to. Another one is like a Ninja Scroll, but a little more like darker as far as the detail. It's like Ninja Scroll if someone let the guy who shadows go back in there with a black pen for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good. It's good. It brings a feel to it too because it matches the feel. Just like Berserk and Vinland Saga. A lot of it the feel is in the artwork that comes to you as well.
Yeah. So yeah, mine is an older one. We kind of mentioned it when we were talking about Madhouse, but Claymore. I know it's available over on Crunchyroll, but pretty much the setting is it's in medieval times, right? Humans are plagued by monsters. Go figure. And so we have to create something to fight those monsters. So we created there's a mysterious organization called the Organization. Go figure. Very creative name, to create humanoid versions of these monsters that are fighting us too, so we can fight fire with fire, and essentially. So they refer to them as claymores. They're mostly a female fighting force. There used to be males, but when the claymores would awaken to their full potential to become super Yoma, this is the wild part. So it was like, it is akin to like a sexual awakening. So like, for whatever reason, the females were able to handle that better than the males. Go figure, right? So they were just like, we should probably not make male claymores anymore, because like when they do this shit, they wow the fuck out. So we'll just keep making the female ones. So, but it's a pretty dope story. That's pretty much the synopsis.
What's that? Post-nut clarity.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it is. It's a great series. I own it. I own the DVDs.
Okay.
Because
yeah,
it is a really great series.
Damn, you guys are saying all things I haven't watched, but I know about it. I've heard about it.
Nah,
like,
bro,
Claymore's been around forever.
Yeah.
My
anime watch list is ridiculous. So like I said, it's I always want to catch up on some of the oldies but goodies, but then shit like Dan to Dan will come out, or a new season of
out of nowhere too. They weren't even hyping up.
Yeah.
Like it can't. Well, sorry, they were hyping up Dan to Dan.
Right.
But not as much as, I don't know if you guys knew, but Uzumaki, they were like, get ready for this. This is about to be the next fucking thing. And then I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this fucking claymation stop animation shit. What is this? But yeah, so Claymore.
When we end, I do want to show you guys like a scene. Like I can show you. It's so bad.
Cool. But unless anybody has anything else to kind of pitch to the people, we can wrap this up and return to our regularly scheduled programming.
I'm good. Thanks for the recommendations. I like it.
Cool. So, we're wrapping this show up. It's longer than usual, but we kind of expected that. Jackie's first time being back in a while, having EJ on here and talking about a very amazing show, manga series. We had to get into some spoilers in order to express how awesome the show is. So, again, like when this goes out, we'll have timestamps so you can skip over spoilers and all that, but I knew it was going to run late, which is cool. I don't have work tomorrow, so it
4-day weekend.
Knock on wood. Where's my? I have no wood in here. Watch somebody do something stupid and my phone rings. Watch it.
No. Oh, you have the phone this weekend?
Sure. Well, I'm the first sergeant. Like I always have the phone.
Always has the phone.
Yeah.
Well, you can always hand it off.
So who? Why would I fuck somebody else's 4-day up? Here you go.
Hey, some people like to be like, hey, shirt, why don't you enjoy a 4-day? I'll take the phone this weekend. That does happen.
Where do they exist at?
People?
Yeah, where let me know where that unit is at.
I happened a lot of Aviano when I was there. Like, a lot of people always took the shirt's phone.
Everyone loves Aviano.
And the shirt was always going on vacation.
I will say overseas is different. It's more of a family atmosphere when you're overseas.
People back you up.
Yeah. Stateside people are just like 4-day. Pew! Yeah. So it's cool. It's what I get the marginal special duty pay for. So
here's your nickel.
Yep. But anyway, so we're wrapping this up. I don't know. I'll know the next episode I want to do. I still want to keep with the spooky season stuff.
Okay.
I was hoping that Uzumaki was going to be it, but fuck it, right?
I mean, we can still. I don't know. If we talk about it, it will be a short episode.
Right.
It'll be us mainly maybe making fun of it, and it'll be spoilers because you have to. Like
you could always.
It depends on what you want to do, but
you could always add. I don't know if it's on Prime or Netflix, but there's also a collection of Japanese anime shorts or Japanese ghost story shorts.
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. Yeah,
they're not. Yeah. I don't know if you'd actually call them anime so much as like a.
It's like short story type stuff.
Yeah, but a flip book. It's like
we can look and see what there is and decide, and then we can give it 2 weeks, and then we'll come up with we want to watch, and then we'll do that, and then we can watch it.
I'll wait
I have a good break.
Okay.
The next at least 3 weeks before Wizzent starts, and then that's just a nightmare of a month.
You're so good at your job.
I have to do it. I don't really have a choice.
But I can't stress watching Death Note enough. Like I said, it's an easy watch. 37 episodes is all you need.
Yeah.
20 minutes each episode, depending where you're watching it at.
I watched it in 3 days.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, you powered through it. So give it a look, and if you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know. You got some theories and stuff, let us know. We're open to all that good stuff. But that's pretty much it, unless you guys got anything else for the anime heads out there. No? All right. Cool. So that wraps up episode 7, I believe, of Eat the Cake Anime. We'll be back. We'll keep you in the loop. Like I said, everybody be lifing out here, right? Things be going on. EJ, we'd be glad to have you back. So expect us to keep you in the loop, seeing if you have any suggestions for anything we should be watching, and we'll come back and reconvene later on. But until then, appreciate you guys rocking with us. Know it's been a long episode, but like I said, it was a good time had for all 3 of us here. So with that, we say peace, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Eat the Cake Anime.
Bye-bye.